the association has led a path of seeing an agenda with the use of trending issues to address the political, social, and economic landscapes of its challenges and opportunities. We also integrated a master class to home members' skills and learn how to adapt or react to issues around us, knowing that photojournalists work in arm's way. It is established that through our lenses, we capture the essence of human experience, the triumphs and tragedies, the struggles and the successes. Our work is more than just taking pictures. It is about telling stories that need to be told, shedding light on issues that require attention, and inspiring change. However, the role of photojournalists in capturing truth and reality is more crucial than ever, especially now that misinformation is the new order. In the course of the year, GPN joined other countries of the world to commemorate the World Photography Day on August 19, 2024, in collaboration with the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, and it was a huge success. The high point of the event was the inauguration of the Young Photographers Club, where children between ages 8 to 18 were co-opted into a cluster, into X cluster. The focus for this next generation was to support and nurture them and provide them platforms to showcase their talent. Looking at this year's theme, food and fuel crisis, a survivor of the fittest, we have brought erudite speakers to lead the conversation and enrich our mind to be able to discern where we are headed. We are also privileged to have right crusaders in our midst to explain to us where our rights start and end in the face of violation. As we celebrate our achievement, we also recognize the importance of supporting and protecting photojournalists. We must continue to advocate for press freedom, safety, and access to information. To the emerging photojournalists among us, I encourage you to keep pushing the boundaries of visual storytelling. Experiment with new techniques, explore different perspectives, and never stop learning. In conclusion, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your tireless effort to capture the world's most important stories. Your work is a gift to us all, and I have no doubt that it will continue to inspire, educate, and motivate us for years to come. Thank you all.
We can do better to the chairman of this occasion, our chief host. Let's give him a round of applause again, please. Yes, one of the things that he said that I hold in high esteem is for the upcoming photojournalists. They have so many things to enjoy because of the fact that there's technology, there's innovation, and there's opportunity for them to explore the opportunities, the dynamism of photojournalism. Thank you so very much, sir. Next on the agenda is goodwill messages. And I want to invite a very special guest. He's a friend. He's not only a friend, he's a part of the institution that grows, that produces and nurtures photojournalists and journalists across board. The list of those he has groomed or has endeared who are making money all over the world is limitless. And I can tell you for free that some of the photojournalists you'll be seeing here were either in his class, he had taught them, or he had been impacting in their life one way or the other. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we give a round of applause for Dr. Boyo Ola, the Deputy Provost, Nigeria Institute of Journalism, as he comes to give us a short goodwill message from the institute that is still producing photojournalists and journalists in Nigeria. Thank you so very much, sir.
A round of applause for our MC. I don't know what some of us are seeing, but I can see a hall that is full. All the seats are occupied, and I'm very sure we are going to have a wonderful time by the time our guest speakers come on. It's those who are here who will be feeling it that they didn't come on time. The goodwill message for an organization that I've been part of as an outsider, let me put it that way, is to wish them to keep on surprising us, to find a way around of raising the bar of visual storytelling, because that should be the key thing that every member of the association should be able to take away. For us at the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, we have been committed to help professionals achieve that ambition, that goal, and we have not stopped. The only thing we all need to know that things are changing. Photojournalism 25 years ago is not what we've been having, let's say, in recent time. Photojournalism 15 years ago will not be comparable to what we are having now. And what we are having now with the AI is something that we should all accept as a reality. It's a moving train that we must find a way of using it. And as we try to improve our professionalism, we should also be aware of our environment, which will be the focus of most of the discussion that we'll be having today. Our safety as professionals, the challenges of working where people don't want you, especially those who need you but think that you are not, you are an evil. And what is more worrisome is a situation where people slap you first and then come around to apologize. What happens to the pain that we professionals must have endured? Is a lot. And we must keep finding a way around it and keep telling those who are abusing and violating professionals' rights as journalists that it cannot be business as usual. Let's be steadfast. Let's continue to hold our head in high esteem. Let's have self-esteem and self-confidence that where we are now is by choice and by design. And we'll make a success of it. I wish us a fruitful deliberation today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Please, we can do better. We can do better than that. And you know, what Mr. Boyo has said is a conference on its own. It's a conference on its own. And that is why the Young Photographers Club, which was inaugurated early this year at the World Photography Day by the Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria, is so germane to what Mr. Boyo is very instrumental about. Because the world of telling stories via photo stories is critical today. And I attest to it because if you must all know, about a decade ago, 10 years ago, Time Magazine, the #1 biggest selling news platform in the world, decided that they would give almost half a page for visuals that will tell the story beyond the write-up that is there. And that today has taken a major play for what storytelling is all over the world. And that is why photojournalists, I think photojournalists in Nigeria should be the #1 influencer on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or CapCut, because you play a critical role in telling the people the story how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Dr. Boyo Ola again a distinguished round of applause for his very wonderful message. Now, I want to invite, to set the ball rolling based on the theme for today, our keynote speaker. We both are from, when I say we both now, people are looking at me as if when I say we, I am bold and I'm proud to say we both are from the institute that is distinguished in its own level. Our keynote speaker is a distinguished engineer, a petroleum engineer. He's an academician. He is a chartered accountant. Ironically, he is I think he's stepping down now, the president, the Lagos chapter for ICANN in Lagos. So you can see that, Abisa, if as engineer, sir, if they can, we can. That's the slogan for engineers. Because if ICANN is Institute of Chartered Association of Nigeria, if ICANN, but engineers are the ones that are passing ICANN. So if you can, I can. Engineers are breaking it. So our keynote speaker is Mr. Bala Zaka. He's a petroleum engineer, an academic, a chartered accountant, a chartered tax professional, and a public affairs analyst. He has worked in various capacities across and outside Nigeria and in oil and gas fields. He has also attended several engineering and management training courses, seminars and workshops within and outside Nigeria. His area of interest include, but are not limited to, oil and gas industry, the environment, the economy, security, and international relations. Mr. Zaka is also an energy economic affairs analyst and a regular feature guest analyst for local and international print and electronic media in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me as I welcome the keynote speaker for today's event, who will be speaking on food and fuel crisis in Nigeria, a survival of the fittest. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause for Mr. Bala Zaka, FCA, as he comes to give us his keynote paper. Thank you so very much, sir. If we're given a round of applause, we can do better, because we have someone who will speak critically on the issue of fuel crisis in Nigeria, vis-a-vis how it affects our food and us as Nigerians. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you. I thank everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, MC. Like I was introduced, my name is Bala Zaka. I'm a public affairs analyst. And I will talk on the subject matter of today. But just before I do that, I just want to say one or two things. I was born in Zaria. I had my primary and secondary school education in Maiduguri. I had my primary school in Maiduguri, then I had my secondary school in a town that is in 2 states. It's a town, but it's divided into 2. If you cross to the other side of the road, you are in another state. If you cross to one side of the road, you are in another state. In other words, if you cross to the right-hand side, depending on where you are coming from, you are either in today's Adamawa state or Borno state. In those days, you were either in Gongola state or in Borno state. I had my tertiary education in Port Harcourt. I was in Port Harcourt for a very long time. Then my professional education, I had it in Lagos. And I can tell you I'm practicing in Lagos. I started my activism in Port Harcourt because I was a member of Pengasan. I was one of those who got my company registered with Pengasan. And you know what happens to activists. Once you are identified, then you will be marked for what? For lateral movement, and you are likely to be fired. So don't worry, I will come there. I'll come there. Okay. No, it's okay there. I will come and okay. So that's it. So because of that, I was almost like what we technically call an excited electron. I was never in one place because you know that you are likely to be fired from one company to the other. But it was good. I had fun. I practiced in the oil and gas industry. I'm still practicing in the oil and gas industry. I have worked on land, swamp, and deep offshore locations. And like he said in the introduction, I had the opportunity of also acquiring knowledge from other institutes. Thank you for the topic of today. Like you saw, food and fuel. Ordinarily, Nigeria is supposed to be the hub for the continent of Africa. Nigeria is supposed to be the fuel and food hub for the West African sub-region. But the truth is that we are not. We have lost that position. And it is necessary that we tell our true story. If we don't tell, others will tell. Because we live in a world today where almost nothing is hidden. As far as I am concerned, today in Nigeria, we need to generate the necessary energy or force that will enable us to overcome that inertia of docility. If we are able to overcome that inertia of docility, then we will be able to at least start moving, generate a little speed. And if there is a direction, then we create the necessary velocity. I'm saying this because as we speak today, Nigeria is having a stunted growth. Whether people believe it or not, Nigeria is having a stunted growth. If you're talking about a country of about 200 million citizens living on the energy generation of about 10,000 megawatts of electricity, you don't need anybody to tell you that you are going to have energy crisis. If you live in a country where you have more than 100 polytechnics, you have more than 100 universities, and basic refining, processing crude oil to get what we technically call distillates is a problem for you, I'm telling you, your country is in crisis. You don't need to deceive yourself. If you live in a country where ordinarily you are endowed with what we call fossil fuel, you have crude oil and you have natural gas. The natural gas endowment of Nigeria is in excess, proved reserve, is in excess of 200 trillion cubic feet. And when you are talking about the potential gas, we have what is in excess of 600 trillion cubic feet. Everybody knows that from natural gas, you are going to get ammonia. From ammonia, you are going to get urea. From urea, you are going to get fertilizer. Nigeria doesn't have fertilizer today. A bag of fertilizer that used to cost about 2,500 Nigerian naira 10 years ago is more than 25,000 Nigerian naira. So if we say our country is not sick, then something is wrong. Others will tell our story. We live in a country where, as we speak right now, everybody knows that the seed of growth and development can only be planted on the soil of peace. We know that that soil of peace does not exist in Nigeria. And if there is no peace, virtually all the economic variables and indices are going to fail. Because there is no peace, we are having problems of food security. We live in a country today where you see people getting to the age of 80, 90, and still living in the cities. In those days, when people reach the age of 50, they start building their retirement homes because they will want to retire, leave the city for the younger ones to gyrate. You know, but today, you will just be told that that retiree that used to be there, that retiree, that gentleman, that woman that you used to see that was a director there, try going back to the village and has been killed or has been kidnapped. In those days, what happens is this: the moment you retire, you embark on what we call lateral movement. And that's how you're supposed to be, even with nature. But today, people cannot go because of insecurity. We live in a country today where you have so many youths, able-bodied youths, that ordinarily can cultivate so many ridges, and you will get so many ridges of harvest. A practical example is this: assuming you have 1,000 youths, and each of those youths will be able to cultivate just 100 ridges of harvest. Due to insecurity, all those youths cannot go to the farms. Multiply 1,000 by 100. That will give you the ridges of good harvest that Nigeria is losing. That's how elementary we need to discuss these things. We live in a country today where those we thought were going to guide us, were going to lead us, have reduced themselves to economic vampires, economic marauders, and economic betrayers. That's what we are experiencing. We live in a country where we expected that we are going to be led by leaders that are visionary. But we have discovered that most, not all, our leaders are suffering from moral bankruptcy and moral insolvency. That's the Nigeria we belong to. So nobody should be fooled. We live in a country where virtually all the GDP variables are not working. So anybody who tells you technically that Nigeria is progressing, I will tell you that Nigeria is progressing, but progressing backwards. Yes, you know, you can progress either forward or backward. But to me, Nigeria is progressing backward. That's the country that we have. So we just need to tell ourselves the truth. By the time you sum all this, you will understand why we have issues as far as fuel and food insecurity is concerned. Then let me talk about the oil and gas industry. It's very, very unfortunate. And let me start from the elementary concern. Major concern, but something that has an elementary solution. To the best of my knowledge, as a public affairs analyst, when people are talking today, they make us to understand that we don't even know the volume of crude oil that we produce. But because we are a country of docility, we are a country that decided to reduce ourselves to a country where our leaders have no vision. We are seen that way. And there are so many people oil well that is active. 4 components come from what we call reservoir. A reservoir is where the crude oil resides. When the components come up, the 4 components, they come to what we call wellhead or Christmas tree. There are always 4 products or 4 components. Or what will come out is a composition of 4 things. 1, you are going to have the crude oil. Second, you are going to have what we call gas. You are going to have sand, and you are going to have water. That's what comes out. So generally, immediately you get to the wellhead, you will always have water, you will have gas, you will have oil, and you will have crude oil. The first thing that will happen once those products leave the wellhead is they will get to what we call a flow station. At every flow station, there is what we call a separator. Every flow station. And once they get to the separator, what happens at the separator is just to separate. You will now have crude oil here, gas here, water here, sand there. The gas is what we always see flared in areas where oil and gas activities are taking place. Then the water is always removed. In organized countries, you even recycle the water or you re-inject the water. Then the sand is always packed. Just the way you dredge sand from the river, you continue to gather it and people can buy. At that point, everybody, the youngest technician will be able to know the quantity of crude oil that you produce. And in every 24 hours, you will know the quantity of crude oil you produce in every field. Because if it is a live field, you are going to see it. So there is nothing hidden about it. But we have allowed ourselves to be reduced to a country that cannot even know how much crude oil she produces. That's an insult on us as Nigerians. I want to also let you know today that Nigeria is a member of OPEC. Nigeria is as important as the Libya of Gaddafi, Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia, Norway, and other OPEC member nations, and even non-OPEC member nations. As far as I am concerned, the quantity of crude oil that we are supposed to produce for consumption in our own state-owned refineries is not regulated or controlled by OPEC. So if anybody is talking to you about the quantity of crude oil that you are supposed to use in your own state-owned refineries and is making reference to the international price, that person has no knowledge of what is going on. And in this context, I want to define leaders. As far as I'm concerned, leaders are fellow citizens like you and I. But we decided and elected them and handed over our economic, political, and social destinies into their care to manage in national interest. And to that extent, if leaders are not doing the right thing, it is our duty to point it out to them. And if they refuse to listen, it is our duty to criticize them in national interest. As far as I am concerned today, Nigerian government is not fair to her citizens. When you hear about oil crisis, I can tell you there was no oil crisis in the days of Gaddafi's Libya. There is no oil theft in Iran today. There is no oil concern in Iraq. No oil issues in Saudi Arabia. No oil concerns or issues in United Emirates. You don't have those concerns in Malaysia or Indonesia or Brazil or Norway. So if we are having those concerns in Nigeria, and we are all members of Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, I am telling you our problems are internal. They have nothing to do with that cartel called OPEC. Just the same way, the way you have OPEC as an oil cartel, you have a gas cartel called Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF, with headquarters in Doha, Qatar. Nigeria is a strong member of Gas Exporting Countries Forum. So you will ordinarily expect that, Nigeria should be as lead as Qatar. But the truth is we are not. The unfortunate thing about Nigeria is that nearly all our problems are self-inflicted. Anybody who tells you that our problems are not self-inflicted, that person is a propagandist. That person is not an honest person. Because as we speak right now, we are not suffering from any natural disasters. Are we suffering from desertification? No. Are we suffering from any earthquake concerns? Are we suffering from any tsunamis? So everything is self-inflicted. Then when you come to self-sufficiency, I want to talk about a subject and a topic that gives me concerns, but unfortunately, it has been politicized in Nigeria, and that is subsidy. Let me tell you, and I stand to be corrected and challenged by anybody. Subsidy is not a Nigerian balance. Subsidy is a global concept. Subsidy is not a Nigerian balance. Subsidy is a globally accepted economic pain cushioning concept. It's a global concept, and you can only get subsidies from governments. The equivalent of subsidies when you are dealing with private sectors is called discount. But private sectors are generally after profit maximization and cost minimization. It is only governments of nations that are supposed to provide goods and services. So if anybody tells you that public sector is supposed to do that, that person is lying to you. People who are working in public sectors or organization, we call them corporate citizens. You are journalists, so you know this better than me. You have two types of citizens: individual citizens and corporate citizens. And I can tell you that citizens are to government what children are to parents. It's as simple as that. So subsidy is a globally accepted economic pain cushioning concept. And to that extent, if subsidy is not working in your own country, and in this context, Nigeria, that will not vitiate or invalidate the global relevance and meaning of subsidy. It only tells you that certain things are not going right in Nigeria. And anybody that ties the price of refined petroleum product that government of a nation is supposed to provide to her citizens to the international price, that person does not know what it means to have a government. And if that person is a part of the government, then tell that person that I told you that that person is suffering from moral insolvency and moral bankruptcy. Because that's not the way parents are supposed to treat their children. So, and this is where I'm heading to now. As far as I am concerned, the government that just passed, or the immediate past government, guided us and gave us a hint on the consequences and the satanic effect of subsidy removal. They removed subsidy on the price of diesel. What did we see? The only thing we experienced was collapse of strategic industrial sectors, strategic domestic sectors, and strategic commercial sectors. Those are the only things we experience. They removed subsidy in the price of kerosene. We didn't see anything. They then remove subsidy in the price of aviation fuel. The only thing we saw was massacre in the aviation sector, and what again? High fares. We were only fortunate and lucky that we did not experience air crashes. Those were the things. And the last thing that happened was the removal of subsidy on PMS. Before the removal of subsidy, we were lied to. We were told that investors were going to come. We were told that, we will not need to go and borrow money. We were told so many things. We were told that Nigeria was losing fuel through smuggling and the rest. All those things have been done. What has been the effect? As far as I am concerned, we just created motion, but there was no movement. Anybody who says the removal of subsidy on the price of diesel is not one of the reasons why the sectors are collapsing, then that person doesn't know what he or she is talking about. The removal of subsidy on the price of diesel is one of the major reasons why, as I speak to you today, many companies are collapsing and many companies are shutting down and will continue to shut down. The worst part is even in the oil and gas industry. Every day we hold meetings. When we hold meetings and operation meetings, let me tell you, the minimum volume, some of them hold offshore, they will be telling you we have 100,000 liters of diesel. Once the quantity of diesel goes to maybe below 30,000, they start crying. Because all the tugboats, all the barges, all the equipment there you can talk about are running on diesel. And at the cost of diesel today, none of them will break even. So we know this, and they will continue to suffer. And let me tell you, that is also linked to the concerns that we have today on even taxes. Because when one company, or if one company shuts down, everything about company income tax is gone. Personal income tax will go. So what has happened, and you saw Nigerians panicking recently, was because so many companies decided to leave Nigeria. And because they decided to leave Nigeria, the tax that was supposed to be accruing does not exist again. That is the reason. That's why we are confused now. We want to tax this, we want to tax that, we want to, you know many of the taxes. I'm not talking about the recent tax reforms. The only reason is because companies cannot survive. And let me now start giving elementary examples. If you go to a hotel that is supposed to house maybe 100 guests, do you know that if that hotel has 10 or 15 guests, they will run a diesel generator throughout the night? At that rate, tell me how they will break even. If you go to a hospital, and a hospital is supposed to house probably 200 patients, and they only have 30 patients, do you know that hospital will be forced to run diesel generator throughout the night? Let everybody tell me how they will break even. They will not break even. They will eventually shut down. And once they shut down, that civic responsibility to the government of paying taxes and levies is also shut down. Then let's go to the lower class or lower classes. Everybody knows that today. Go and meet a vulcanizer. Meet a vulcanizer. I'm telling you the ills and the satanic effect of what is happening in Nigeria. That was not happening in the Libya of Gaddafi. It's not happening today in Iran or Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia, Norway, and other oil-producing nations. In Nigeria today, a vulcanizer with 10,000 naira will get at best 10 liters of petrol. If he spends 10,000 naira to get 10 liters of petrol, just be honest, how many tires will he vulcanize to be able to get back that money and break even? You can see practically that is not correct. You can see practically that those things are not working. Then go to a barber. Assuming a barber goes today and buy 10 liters of petrol, and he needs to cut hair, how many people will he cut their hair before that the 10 liters will finish? he will not break even. It's the same thing with the hairdresser. It's as elementary as that. So anybody that says Nigeria is not on the path to economic Golgotha, that person is not being honest. We are telling you exactly the things that are happening. But even look at the GDP variables. Recently, we were told that our GDP is growing at a given percentage. My understanding of GDP, we should be able to see it. I know that the consumption index of GDP has gone down because disposable income is no longer there. People are losing jobs. So the consumption index of the GDP is down. The investment index of GDP is also going down because companies are not coming. There are no investors. Anybody that says there are investors, let him show us the investors. There are no investors. So that one is also going down. Then, of course, government expenditure, we know where it is going. So that one, that component of the GDP is also down. Then the worst one is export-import differential. Everybody knows that Nigeria has been reduced to an importing and a dumping nation. We know that. So everything about the GDP variables have all gone down. So we are waiting for anybody that will tell us why we are not going to have food issues and why we are not going to have fuel crisis. We are talking about the food. I told you, I started by saying I grew up in Maiduguri. I mean, we learn, but you can't go to the farms. You have enough natural gas, you cannot produce basic fertilizer. So how can you boost food security? You cannot. So it is very, very unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this position. The truth is Nigeria economy has ground to the cliff edge. And anybody who tells you that the Nigerian economy is not going to collapse into the valley, that person doesn't know what he or she is talking about. And unfortunately, there is something I want to say. With due respect to statisticians, it is only in Nigeria that I see analysis and I feel disappointed in statisticians. In Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, I don't use their statistics. And I will give you the reason. To me, 1 + 1 in mathematics is what? 2. But in statistics, 1 + 1 is equal to X plus an error margin. That's what statisticians do. But in the context of Nigeria, that error margin is almost always 100% error. Actually, everything you are told is wrong. It is only in Nigeria that you see how the economy of a country is being railed into destruction. The first thing I knew was happening was the plan was remove fuel subsidy, which whoever was guiding or leading our leaders successfully achieved. The next thing was flood the Naira. The Naira was devaluated. How can you do that when you are an importing nation, when you don't produce anything? Even look at your extractive industry. And the third thing was supposed to be to redenominate the Naira. I'm telling you, the plan was to redenominate the Naira. And do you know what the denomination is? You know, we are getting to a point now, what they will do is to phase out, before you know, phase out 20 Naira notes, phase out 50 Naira notes, phase out 100 Naira notes. Sooner than later, if Nigeria yields to that pressure, what will now happen is Nigeria will always probably be having 200 Naira notes, 500 Naira. Before you know, we'll start producing 5,000 Naira notes. That is redenomination. And once we redenominate the Naira, we are finished. Then another thing is we are going to be told to open our borders. And once we open our borders, we know that we have nothing to export. Even this concept of African continental free trade agreement, Nigeria will lose because we have nothing. We have been made to feel that it's cheaper to import than to export. So when you look at it, that is the agenda. Then the worst one, if we open our borders, we become a dumping ground because we have the population. Then the final one, Nigeria will be asked to pull out of OPEC. Once you pull out of OPEC, you are finished. So let me tell you the satanic chronology. Remove subsidy, right? Float your currency, redenominate your naira, open your borders, and then what? Pull out of OPEC. But to the best of my knowledge, we have done two. And the two, we are seeing the consequence. It's only in Nigeria that as far back as 1989 or 1990, between 1965 and 1990, you're talking about 24 years, the then generation of leaders that we felt were illiterate were able to construct 4 refineries, meaning 1 refinery in 6 years. But from 1990 to now, you're talking about 34 years. The current generation of leaders have not been able to maintain even the refineries that they inherited, not to talk of constructing new ones. And people are telling me that they are surprised that we are experiencing energy crisis. You don't need to tell me that. It's already clear. I mean, even if it will take 10 years to build 1 refinery from 1990 to now, you should expect Nigeria to have 3 brand new refineries. And let me tell you one mistake a lot of people are doing. Anybody that tells you that private refineries are those that are supposed to come and shield and free Nigerians, that person does not know what he's talking about. Private investors are after profit maximization and cost minimization. It is the government of nations that provides goods and services. And that's why I'm not bothered to talk about private refineries. What you do for your private investors in your country is you create opportunities for them. If we have great private refiners in Nigeria, it is the duty of the government of Nigeria to help them have a relationship across the West African sub-region. Construct railways. Let them have their crude oil there. I mean, refined petroleum product there. Let them have their fertilizer there. That's what you do. Before you know, we have our engineers, technicians, and environmentalists there. And it is only in Nigeria that I can see, as far as I'm concerned, I have never heard that American senators, American visitors visited Bill Gates or visited Mark Zuckerberg or visited Donald Trump because he was contributing to the economy of their country. They see the person as a citizen, corporate citizen. It is their duty to protect American investors. That's why you cannot touch ExxonMobil in Nigeria. American government will come after you. If you touch Total, the French government will come after you. If you touch Agip, the Italian government will come after you. But I have never heard that American government, and senators visited Total to go and greet them or visited Chevron. So in Nigeria, when I hear that Nigerian senators, governors, and whatever are visiting a private investor, I get surprised. That's not the way. You treat them equally. What they owe you, help to protect them as your corporate citizens, but what they owe you is they owe you their civic responsibilities of paying taxes and levies. There are more to cover, but my time is up, and please don't spare me. Ask me as many questions as you can. Thank you.
Check.
When that was very, very insightful and very concise. Question and answers, but to add to the question and answers, I want to invite 1 or 2 people to join with the keynote speaker for this session. I kindly request Mr. Boyola to please join us briefly for the question and answer session. The Deputy Provost of Nigerian Institute of Journalism. Sir, please kindly join us. There's also one more person that is on his way, will join us for this session. He's the state chairman for the NBA Lagos State chapter. He just went to pick something, but he'll be here very soon. Please let's give a round of applause for Mr. Boyola, the Deputy Provost. Now, please let's have our questions. Please write your questions. Oh, okay, we have 3-4 questions. If you have a question, let me have your hand up. Question 1. Any other question? I have a question, so mine is there. Any other person with a question, please? Because we have 2 very, very vastly knowledgeable people who will be able to take any issue we're looking at fair and square. Okay, so let's take the first one. Your question, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for the great presentation. My name is Olajobi Olugbenga. I listen to you and I can see the how you feel looking at what Nigeria is. And you were able to take us through where we are coming from as a nation. And from your presentation, I understand that you expected that by now, this should not be the things we are talking about. But having said that, food and fuel, the survival of the fittest, is a serious issue. I can even say that the fittest cannot even survive now. Yeah. So, but the angle of my question is this, sir. You have made us to understand that promises after promises. But here we are. And even those of us that are here, we are still the one carrying this, their shout here and there. What is the role of us that these people are leading over? What should we do? Then how, and also as journalists, how should we intervene? Because it seems our people don't care. Because if they care, election will come again. You talk about leaders, the ones that we thought they are illiterate, and you have been able to point to what they achieve. But the ones we call literate, you cannot show us what they have done. Rather, they have made us to regress. So what should we do? One, as journalists that are here, then to let people understand. Because people don't understand. That is the main challenge. Otherwise, these same people will be there again.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Nigeria has been reduced to a country
Yeah.
Thank God for the digital media. Nobody is in control of that. The internet has made everybody to be publishers if you so wish. All you need to do is have your blog and you are publishing. Are we doing that? Of course. You can't have a blog that you will not sustain. You cannot open a shop that you are not stocked with goods. We need to reorientate ourselves. We need to take it out of this thing that my editor will not use that kind of pictures.
That's another.
If they don't use those pictures, what about your blog? If you don't have individual blogs, the GPN can have
to the government of the country concerning this crisis, this fuel issue. To the government of the country concerning this crisis, this fuel issue. So what is the way out? Before you speak, sir, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to welcome. Before you speak, sir, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to welcome.
Will be sitting somewhere, probably suffering from high blood pressure or whatever. That guy will continue to curse Nigeria on something that ordinarily should be available. And electricity or power is driver. Anywhere you go. We're not talking about a special classification. And quote me that I said, if Nigerian leaders were to have a way of and caging the oxygen that we breathe, they will do that.
Now, sir, in line with what you said.
So what you guys are supposed to do, a photojournalist should be able to go to such areas, a band D or band C area, go to the hospitals there.
And give us.
Go and see. Take only photographs. Recently, we had that a premier or a university college hospital didn't have electricity for 17 days. 17 days.
Wow.
Hospital. UCH. Is that not a shame? With the abundant gas that Nigeria has, we should be as lit as Qatar because we are members of Gas Exporting Countries Forum.
Sir, if I'm to come back to what
we need the pictures of those children and families that were moving their people out of the hospital at UCH that day. We needed to see those. But maybe if you want to put, somebody will phone and say, no, that you must not post that. People must not see those pictures. Because people were dying. I was around there. I saw it. 17 days. You go to universities now for a whole week. Tell me how people will go to toilet. Tell me how people will get drinking water. If I stay here, I will go to ease myself to titrate close to 4 or 5 times. And people will be living, no water in the toilet, nothing. In a university environment, nothing to run the labs. In a hospital.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Boyo, your take before I go to...
You have an opportunity, photojournalists, go and capture the true condition.
I want to go to Mr. Sheyolaumi, who is Esquire, who is the chairman of NBA Lagos branch. Ikeja branch. Thank you, sir. Now, the keynote speaker mentioned something right now, and I wanted to take him up on it, but I'm going to take it to you because the lawyers are our last hope. And I like the fact that you showed the last hope yesterday when you went to protest. The band issue in electricity. Is it possible to have banding in fuel?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I think that most times we have come to find ourselves.
Sorry, sir. Can you please come here? I would.
Oh,
okay, fine.
I think that most times America is where they are today because they understand the reason that they have come together as one state. Sometimes I ask, as a Nigerian, what are we could say have brought us together as a Nigerian, other than some white men who came and they just pull all of us together and say that we are one indivisible country.
Yeah.
By virtue of our profession, we have traveled
Far and
far and
wide.
wide. And you just talk about banding now. I was at a lecture and I asked why we have coal in a region and we have so much sunlight in another region in this country, and we're flaring gas
In another region.
in another region, and you cannot allow these regions to generate their electricity. I don't know if you got the point I'm making.
Clearly.
There's coal somewhere
Yeah. And it's wasting.
wasting. There is sun
Massive.
massively in the north, and in the south, you see them flaring, just the gas, just the
And we're buying.
electricity. You have here, even in Lagos, people who now power their homes and businesses
Yeah.
with inverters. They put panels on their roof and they get electricity. And that's what I do most times now. I pay less of
The banding.
whatever band. I'm not interested. As a matter of fact, at the time I wrote to them, I told them, please come and take away
your.
cables. Need your cables. Because I see that with the inverter, I can generate, I'm here now, I'm not home. My wife is at work, my children are in school. When we get back home, the inverter would have, had a lot of
Solar power.
solar power and
For-
we just
for
put it on at
electricity.
night. So we'll continue to have this banding problem because, and you see, I think I need to also let you know that the government is not our main problem.
They are not.
They are not. And you can quote me. You see, I've been here in the last 2 years, and I can tell you that we complain when we are not taking benefits. Nigerians complain when they are not taking benefit. I don't know. I think it was my brother here who first said it. Our destinies, they're in our hands. Yesterday, we got to Alausa, and they told us we could not see the governor. And we said, no, we have to enter this place. Some of your people were with us. They said, we can't. We said, no. If the governor and whoever and all these people, when they need votes, they come to us.
They come.
To sit with councillor, do ushering job in churches. You are not telling us we cannot see the governor. And we forced our way in. It shouldn't ordinarily be the situation.
It should have been an easy.
But you see, we have come to a situation where we think that most of these people, the only language that they understand now is the language of force. Yes. So I tell you, sincerely, our destiny is in our hands. 1, 2, I don't think that it is the duty of the photojournalist to go wherever. It's just like my brother said, there are some good things that this country is doing, and that yesterday we told the public the tax reform bill that the president is doing is a very good one. My opinion. Because it will stop multiple taxation.
One.
If you are in Lagos, you pay tax. If you cross this bridge, what do you call it now? What do you call after this?
Long Bridge.
Baga Bridge. The
Baga
moment
Bridge,
you
long
cross
cross
to Ogun
Ogun
State,
State.
and you are doing anything, you pay tax.
You pay another tax
Why?
again.
And I think that this tax reform bill that is before our National Assembly, if they allow it, is a very good one. And the others that like the increase in food and fuel, and then we can tackle this problem head
Fair
on.
and square.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Now-
So, but we'll continue to have all these challenges if we don't wake up and be ready to take it by ourselves and stop pretending that we are really suffering, because that's another problem.
We're not.
You see, let me tell you, when people say they are suffering and things like that, and we do parties and the people in government will laugh nowadays, and these people say they are suffering. You don't understand? Because sometimes I wonder, when I'm going to my house and I see somebody who is borrowing money, doing party. People borrow money to do party. My mother once told me that I should buy our families Ashwebi because it will not be good. And I ask her, why? I don't understand.
So,
Why should I buy a Shoaib by force?
So, sir,
Yes, sir.
in a long, to make it easier for us, the survival of the fittest is not yet survival of the fittest.
No, it
It's
is.
not yet.
No, it is.
Now,
in Nigeria.
Now, is there anybody that has another question? Because I want to throw a question here. In the next, you want to respond to?
some of the things he said.
Okay.
Okay.
Please, sir, just before you do your response, sir. The situation we are in Nigeria is the survival of the fittest. I mean, why are our leaders stealing? Yes, because they are afraid of the future. A governor, a former governor, paid for his children's school fees
In dollars.
till 2030 something.
Yes.
That is evil, like somebody said. There is something evil about us. How can you do that? 20, 30 something years. I mean, 20, 30 something. We're in 2024. Haba.
Yeah.
So it's the situation of the survival of the fittest.
Yes.
So when you find yourself in power, it's that situation because you want to survive.
And like the keynote speaker said, which I'm sure I want to reiterate what he said earlier. He said we are heading towards the evil forest.
We are there already.
No, but we're not. Let me tell you why he says. Because he's going to answer you. Let me tell you why he says we're not yet there. On your way to the forest, everywhere is green now. So everything is still looking as if all is well. It's until we enter, they will know that, oh, this forest, the leaves there are not green, no. Then the reality comes to mind. So I'll allow him to answer you.
Before
and then
I hand over the mic to him, maybe our lead speaker lives where the environment is still very green.
Oh, okay.
So I would like our lead speaker to also add that. I live in Alimosho, and people are suffering.
As really suffering.
We have a situation where people come to our gate now to knock and say, lawyers, what are you doing? It has never been this bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sir. No,
Okay, I can also use that. If we want to talk anyway, help those that I describe as people who are morally bankrupt and suffering from moral insolvency to take advantage of us. And that was why at a point I felt very, very bad when I saw so many of my respected senior colleagues, losing everything about their reputation that they have worked for and earned because they reduced themselves to propagandists and praise singers. What Nigerians are just talking about is simple. Lateef Jakonde was just one man. Just one man. You will go and you will go to Ajah, they will say that is Jakonde Estate. You will go to one place, they will say this is Gowon Estate. These people, the person had one head. What we are just talking about, when we are talking about things that are elitist, what percentage do we constitute? We are talking about basic drinking water. You are not providing drinking water for your people. We are not providing basic drinking water. The reason why people are asking to have electricity is to pump water. So must everybody know how to use inverter? Must everybody know how to get solar? You don't need. Government is supposed to provide goods and services.
Basic.
That is the thing. And what people are asking is basic. Let there be electricity so that when I go to that toilet, I will be able to ease myself. Let there be electricity so that when that pregnant woman goes to the hospital, the doctor will not give excuses. The doctor should be able to treat her. Let there be fertilizer so that man that has been, those children that have been managing their lives can produce crops and food for us to eat. But if somebody starts bragging that in the city you can do online marketing, you can do digital currency, at the end of the day, if there is no food, you are all going to die. That's why the currency, you have all the currency, you have this, it cannot still fetch you anything. Minimum wage cannot buy a 50 kg bag of rice. Don't you think that economy is an economy of irresponsibility? Don't you think something is wrong? Meanwhile, that same minimum wage before, a bag of rice will just be probably less than 20% of that minimum wage. One minimum wage was 30,000. A bag of rice was 8,000 Nigerian naira. Now your minimum wage is 70,000 Nigerian naira. It cannot buy a bag of rice. Your minimum wage cannot buy 100-liter jerry can of diesel. Is that no madness? We need something very simple. Nigerians are not difficult. If you go to all the... I told you where I schooled. I was born in Zaria. I grew up in Maiduguri and Sokoto, Giginya area and Kalambena. All those people there, they don't need anything. They just need fertilizer, just need water, and if they are sick, let them go to that local clinic.
Talking about tanker, the price of fuel, to some people is big English.
Give them the basic
The
thing.
issue is the basic amenities. My final question for the three of you, sirs, is react to him.
So that we are
On a very
yes, so that we are on a very so that we understand the perspective very well.
yes.
I'm not an elitist, and I hope that
Oh, you're not.
no, I'm not.
No, I didn't say you are one. No.
No.
Well-
You know, you were talking about
How do we define now?
you are talking about the inverter. We're not saying that.
No, you were trying to describe the fittest. So to that person,
Yes,
I'm,
well,
I'm
you see,
okay.
that was why, as a foundational statement, I said that somewhere in Nigeria there is coal. The job of the government is to harness and give people power. Somewhere there is sunlight. Somewhere they are flaring gas now as we speak.
Correct.
So I'm not advocating. I merely made an example. Like in our homes, we have inverters.
A lot.
So yes, a lot.
A
And
lot,
if we do
currently.
that means that look, if the government is ready, and they want to stop this band A madness, the government could invest. But you see, let each region go and give, because my brother was just asking me, is it going to be free? It's not going to be free. You want electricity? It's not going to be free.
It's not.
People japa, is it free in London? You can't put on this number of lights in a London hall. You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
We're running. If this program in the next 2 hours, we don't leave here, we'll be running at least 100 liter of diesel.
Diesel. True.
So it doesn't come free. So the point I have made is that each region, and in food too,
And like,
you are making that example.
Yes.
Because here, if you at our backyards, we grow tomatoes, we grow all these things now. In our homes, we put yam on the ground and it comes out. So I'm not making case to say, because again, that is part of our problem here. The last time one of the times we had a program here, the police came, they wanted to stop us. And one of our leaders, Mr. Adeshina Ogunlano, who is now lead, he said, you have come because we are lawyers. What about the man on the road?
Exactly.
The organizer? The people we are advocating for? The people that will not come here because they think that this place belongs to the elitists in the society? What about those people that you are running here now because you know that we wanted to hit the street? Yesterday, as early as 7, they came to my office. Mr. Chamasa, we have been sent by the Commissioner of Police to give you protection. Come on. That is the situation that we have found ourselves.
Yeah.
I laughed. You want to give me protection? I don't need your protection. It is my right under the law
to be protected.
to go out and protest. I don't need to say, but the commissioner said we should come and give you protection, sir. They stayed with us throughout because we are lawyers. If what's it called, all these boys on the road say they want to do, they will crush them. They will beat the hell out of them. That's what they do here. So we're not making case for an elitist society. We are saying in Nigeria here, we can avoid this crisis if the government is sincere. And I've said that if the people are sincere, because we also have people who complain because they are not getting benefit.
From the
and I've
government.
seen that so many times.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Now, lastly, may he so rest in peace. A famous Nigerian musician sang a song, and I want to take the question from that song to each and every one of you, starting with Mr. Boyo. His song goes like this: Which way, Nigeria? Which way, Nigeria? Tell me which way to go, which way to go. I love my fatherland. I want to know, yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. And like the keynote speaker said, it's pathetic when you, as engineers, particularly petroleum engineers, when you look at the breakdown of fuel, there's so much that Nigeria, as producers of fuel, should be benefiting. Before we started the program, he was telling me, we're just talking, and he said that with the problem we're having in Nigeria today, in the last 30, 40 years, Iraq, Iran right now is not having fuel crisis issue. Even with the war they are fighting with, they want to fight with Israel. There's so many issues that we need to look at as Nigerians to face our problems. Because if we look at the international climes, the Iraq, the Kuwait, the so many oil producers in OPEC, there's zero issues they have concerning fuel, which also reflects to what we eat. For the three of you, a vast, intelligent Nigerian once said that 7 years parameter tells you where we're going or where we're not going. Whether we're going to die, we're going down, or we're going up. Let me not take 7 years, 5 years, between the three of you, sirs, so that we can round up. Where is Nigeria going to? I want to start with Mr. Boyo, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay.
You will take the last piece.
Okay.
You're the keynote speaker. You take the last piece.
prefer
Mr. Boyo, which way is Nigeria going to? Your own, sir, is more because you are a trainer of journalists. There are still some who will come for lectures today. So the future of the next 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years of journalism comes from you because you are the Deputy Provost, Nigerian Institute of Journalism. Which way is Nigeria going to, sir?
We don't need to be babalawo to realize one thing, that Nigeria will solve its problems one way or the other. When we were growing up, it wasn't everybody that was rich.
Yeah.
Not everybody will be rich. Not everybody will ride cars. Not everybody will live in big homes, because what we owe ourselves and our society is to be happy. And happiness is a relative word, which is not really attached to you, to how much you have. You can have millions and you are miserable.
Yeah.
And you have little and you are happy.
True.
The question we need to ask ourselves, and as journalists, we also need to take note of that, is either we are part of the problem, promoting the problem, or we are also in the group of those who are trying to find solutions. Talk is cheap. We talk too much.
Too much.
And you realize in our talking, those who are talking, they cannot even do nothing. We have people who cannot manage their homes, who will always be saying, what are they doing, sir? They don't know how to manage. They don't know how to do this, and they cannot manage themselves. We need to understand all these things, that those in government, not all of them are fools, and they are stupid.
True.
I hold that belief. They are not mad people. I've never been in government, but sometimes we should ask ourselves, what could be wrong with leadership, that when they get there,
The four square walls of.
like they are not, it's like,
It's a different ball game
like
altogether.
the falconers is listening to something else. I think the issue has to also be with the followers. I want to believe that many of us are not also performing our roles the way we should. And we are also afraid of our shadow, that sometimes we find it difficult to say no when we are faced with injustice. Journalists, which is my own area, my advice is that our duty in trying to be good citizens is to bring out issues in the society that will make people happy, so that those who can do something about it
Will
are faced with the reality and say, look, this is the implications of what
Is going on
is
with
going on,
yeah, and then they
how
need
do
to
you
how do we
solve
find,
it?
find solutions to it?
And even possible for those who write, we talk about solution journalism. Find solution that has, for those things that have worked in other areas before you write. Like I said, talk is cheap. Anybody can talk. You don't need to be a professor.
So let's do the verb
talk.
part. Let's do more of action instead
More
of
action.
talk.
In whatever we want to do, let's also strive to find out, are there other ways that this thing can be done better and get a robust solution that will ameliorate the problem on a sustainable basis.
Now, the action part is where you help me give the mic to, because lawyers are, I like the fact that they are taking the bull by the horn, and the action came out yesterday. Which way, Nigeria? Now, sir, you would talk more from the angle of the rights of the people to know what is their right, to stand on their right, and to chase their rights. Because if they don't chase their rights now, they will need to chase it again in the next 4 years. And lawyers are here. Thank you, sir.
But I've said everything for me. You see, and I align myself completely with everything
His line of thought.
that last speaker has said. Except to add that, and in saying this sincerely, I'm not saying that as lawyers we are not part of the challenges that we have in the society today. I'm not saying that we're not part of it. Because when I said that we seem to be the problem and we only complain when we're not taking benefits. I say
You clearly
it
said
with
that.
all sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
When I came in as chairman of the branch, your men will come and cover our programs, and this is not an attempt to insult anybody, but to say it the way it is. And at the end of the program, they say, Mr. Chairman, we are waiting. I ask, how? I don't understand. What are you waiting? Do your job, I do my job. We are giving you the news. Your duty is to report the way it is. And there are people in this hall that could bear me witness. So we were blacklisted. They had to talk me out of it. And Mr. Chairman, nobody be so then they do it. I'm telling you, the judiciary correspondence here, they blacklisted till date.
Yeah.
If we have any events here, we don't call them again.
Wow.
Yes, we invite from outside. You understand? Because I can't imagine that we are within, because all this environment is the bar and the judiciary environment. And you come to our programs, it's like coming to cover this program now, and you are waiting. What are you waiting for? Until I was informed that in their respective place of work, they also told them that we will employ you, but you have to look for your salary. Whatever that could be interpreted to be.
That's a crisis
Yes,
on its own.
we are employing you.
That's a crisis on its own.
I don't want to mention.
No, there's no need.
You are going to be working for us now, but you are going to look for your own salary. And I was wondering. So that means the problem is everybody.
Is everybody's problem.
We know our rights. Do we need to, start teaching? We know our rights. We know that we have a right. First and foremost, you see, I don't know how to start describing the situation. We will not leave this place. It's so bad though. You said that song. That song is even.
Sonny Okosun.
Sonny is a recent song.
No, it's not.
Yes, so
Sonny Okosun he's been dead now over 10 years.
I know now. What I mean by recent is that there were songs.
Oh no,
singing about Nigeria. Ilule Kosowolode.
Kosowolode,
That
yeah.
is even older than Sonny Okosun's. And my brother, since I was born, I'm over 50 years. Since I was born, we've been hearing up NEPA. We run from our inner room outside. And our children, they inherited that from us.
Up NEPA, yeah.
The NEPA has not come.
He has not gone. He's still.
So, if you are singing Sonny Okosun's song, come on now. Oga, fella has been singing about
injustice, Nigeria situation.
You understand? Since when? And we are still, I just realign myself with him, and I pray that everything he has said. Because if I tell you that Nigeria will solve his problem one day.
In the strategic thinking of corporate leaders,
Just take some of this, remove corporate, remove this, remove that, and put it in the
Government.
context of government. Policies are supposed to be statements that will convey national philosophies and must be seen to be reflected in the political thinking of in the thinking of political leaders. We are in politics today. I can tell you, outside this environment, a councillor is 10 times more powerful than me because he has the constitutional power.
Powers.
He can decide, let's go to the right, let's go to the left. He is a lawyer. Thank you. I wish I knew. I'm the outgoing chairman. I just handed over as the chairman of Ikeja and District Society of ICANN.
ICANN.
You know. So what I'm saying, we'll have paid you a courtesy visit. What I'm saying is this. When you look at what is happening, at the end of the day is with the leaders. We handed over our economic, political, and social destinies
In the
for
hand.
you to handle and manage in national interest. So if things are not working, we will face you. Let me say something again, what I noticed, and that's why I said to me, Nigeria is sinking. Nigeria is heading to the cliff edge, and so many things as for Nigeria will collapse into the valley by the training that we were given. And even when we started practicing, you know, you go to some countries, they tell you there is a master plan. And when I was defining policies, when you talk, I say it's a philosophy. You understand? What is the national philosophy on energy? What is the national thinking on health? What is the national thinking on education? How can you have more than 100 polytechnics?
And
You have more
universities.
than 100 technical universities. And basic chemistry, basic element, anybody that does science, the chemistry you did, refining technology,
Still the
you
same thing.
cannot do it with all those universities and polytechnics. Apart, it's the same principle. Every other thing is cosmetics. Then but to our leaders now, the way we were trained was that if you come, right, if I either succeed you, whether as a manager or as a leader, the best I can do is to leave things the way I met them, not to allow things to sink. So it's only in Nigeria somebody will come, exchange rate will be 50 naira to $1, and he begins to get propagandists and technocrats that have reduced themselves to praise singers and will tell you that your naira needs to be depreciated to 200 naira to $1. Then that is when the economy will grow. Some will even start telling you, if you don't plant a seed, the seed dies, the seed cannot come up. You can't tell people like me that. At best, leave it the way you met it. That's the way we were trained. Come, meet it. But you don't come, and economy is at this level. You are seeing, everybody is seeing the economy sinking, going down. And people will tell me, you need to go down before you come up. In economics, it doesn't work that way. I remember in the days of the other, one of the presidents, not the current president, there was a time they were telling us that if we don't take debts, if Nigeria doesn't go, that Nigeria will disappear.
And they were saying
Have you
America
forgotten?
was taking so much
America
steps, that's
that
why
we
they're
have not.
succeeding.
Then they will begin to talk about GDP ratio to this. They will talk debt to GDP. I'm a chartered accountant. I read petroleum engineering to PhD level. I've worked on land, swamp, and deep offshore. What are you telling me? I'm a chartered tax analyst. What are you telling me?
And
you are seeing an economy. Let me give you one example, a practical example. I had a heated argument on one of the TV stations. One of the major TV stations. You will know that. I was there with somebody, but for now, one of the financial institutions. Do you know some ladies were brought? We sat, but educated ladies. They were those that were saying, please remove subsidy. Then they haven't removed subsidy on the price of diesel. They said, remove subsidy on diesel. Remove subsidy on diesel. Remove subsidy. In my house, I have solar. In my house, I have that was how they were talking on air. I said, do you know what you're talking? Is it because you and I are in Lagos? Then there was a white guy. That's how we described him, a white man. But that man was representing a financial institution that many of you will know about. We were talking about petrol. Do you know what the man said? He was saying there was no need for us to refine internally. And I said, why? Do you know what the man said? That was how I rubbished the man on air. The man said, even if you refine, at best, what you can get, maybe you can just save like either 5 or 10 naira per liter. Why taking those pains and what? Do you know what I did? I then pulled him from there. I said, oh, so there will even be savings of 5 naira or 10 naira. He said, yes, you may probably
That's a
save
lot of money.
5. That was where I caught him. And I said, they told us that we import 50 million liters per day. So from what you are saying, if we can save 10 naira per day,
A day.
so that means
We'll be saving
multiply
10
50
naira
million
by
liters
50 million
by
liters.
10 naira.
Wow.
That's the savings per day. Multiply the savings per week. Multiply the savings per month by 1 year. Won't you, sir, would you respect, as the director representing that organization in Nigeria, if you wish Nigeria well, won't you advise that even if it is one naira Nigeria will save, let Nigeria
save.
Do you know that was how the program froze? And the moderator brought the thing to an end. Everybody knows that Nigeria is the continental hub for Africa. Nigeria is the hub for the West African sub-region. Everybody knows. And everybody knows that anywhere you have population, you are supposed to turn it into growth. It's only in Nigeria that people will bring in things from other countries, sell here because we have the population. But to us, our population is a cost. The only people that cannot help us to reconcile that and fix that are our leaders. Until tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned, a councillor is 10 times more powerful than me.
So, sir.
Because he's elected.
So, sir.
So if tomorrow Sanwo-Olu say tomorrow is public holiday, who will stop him? Will NBA stop him? If he say let them construct a gutter on the other side, can anybody stop him?
No.
So
Now-
I want to tell you how powerful our leaders are. And if they are not doing that, that means they are morally bankrupt and are suffering from moral insolvency.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that let's give our panelists a round of applause. It has been an awesome time. Mr. Balazaka, the former outgoing president of ICANN, chairman of
Federal
Lagos
District.
branch. He's a petroleum engineer. He's a financial accountant. He's a tax expert. He's our keynote speaker. Thank you so very much for coming. Very, very explicit and concise. Let's give a round of applause, please. Mr. Boyola, the Deputy Provost of Nigerian Institute of Journalists, Ogba, Lagos. He's a roundhouse. When you talk about journalism, photojournalism and the likes, point of correction, Dr. Boyola, thank you so very much for coming. Let's give a round of applause, please. And our host of the host,
Yes.
Mr. Sheyi, thank you so very much. The chairman, outgoing chairman, NBA Ikeja branch. Thank you so very much for your input. Very, very concise. Please, let's give him a round of applause, please. At this junction, we end this question and answer session. And I would want that the three of them should please rise up. The chairman of the guild should join them. Let's have a photo session here. Thank you so very much. All the photographers, please, let's have this session with them. You can stay in the... Well, let's take the bag away. Yes. Okay. Okay, so that we can have the... Can we come to this side? No. So that the guild... No, you can come down, sir. I would have loved the guild. All right, so thank you so very much. Once again, please let me give our distinguished gentlemen a round of applause, please. Thank you so very much, sirs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to quickly do something. We're going to gradually we'll get into the next session, the panel session for today's event, and the theme for the panel session is rights of photojournalists in the face of violation. We have some of our guests, the panelists, already here. But before that, I want to recognize and give just a minute or two. As we got here this morning while we were setting up, a lawyer of the NBA in Ikeja branch here said that when he saw the Guild of Photojournalists, it took him back memory lane that his father was one of the first photojournalists that was recognized in Nigeria. Permit me to just give him a minute or two to just talk about what his memories are and what it used to be back then. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me just give a minute to Mr. Taiwo Adedeji. He's a member of NBA Ikeja branch here. To just give us one or two, let's give a round of applause, please. Immediately he saw the banner outside, he was moved, he was very emotive, and he was very elated as well. Let's give him a round of applause. That gives a minute to us.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I must also say I must appreciate the audience. I'm very happy to be here because, like he said, it actually evokes a kind of emotion in my memory. Whatever I've become today, it is through the finance, sponsorship, and training and upbringing of one of the pioneer photojournalists in Nigeria. My dad was not in spite of the fact that he was a journalist, but he was not the very loud public person. Although he belonged to one or two social clubs in Lagos way back then. Ever before I was born, I remember we used to have some photographs in my home then. When Queen Elizabeth visited Nigeria in 1956, there was a particular white man that became my father's friend till, I don't know when, we lost contact after a very long time. He returned to his country. He was one of the colonial officers of those days. The man used to call my dad, and one singular thing that my dad did for him, he said, all the while, he was in England, nothing happened. He never had the opportunity. They were maybe the commoners. He never had the opportunity of seeing Queen Elizabeth one-on-one. But when Queen visited Nigeria in 1956, that my father took a photograph of himself and Queen shaking hands, and that my father sent that photograph to him, that he was very happy, that he magnified, he took it to England, and he was telling us then about the profession of photojournalism, that is a very good one, though, even though in Nigeria, things were at a very low web then. But I believe that with the advancement of technology, there has always been technology, but with advancement of technology, the picture of photojournalism in Nigeria is very bright. My father's name was Johnson Adedeji. In those days, they used to call him Kosenje. If anyone had worked in Daily Times way back then, you were likely to have come across him. He used to, some of the photos in the old newspapers there, he used to be, in contemporaries were Mr. Peter Obey. Then there used to be one Baba called Adeyemi Billy Rose, somewhere in Surulere. Then Baba Ojekere. Pa Ojekere was also, in fact, Pa Ojekere and my dad were very close friends. Then he started at WNTV. That was the first television station in Africa. That was where my father started his journalism there.
of a lawyer, you discover that you would have to pay through your nose to make sure you get this done. And I've had experience with journalists and people who are involved in fighting for freedom of expression in Nigeria. I've taken up cases on how we can use FOI to expose transparency and corruption in government agencies, and I discovered that going to court is very costly, because in my final year in the university, when I was there in 2014, my thesis was on what are the issues that make justice a myth in the country. What are the issues that make justice unattainable in the country? So my findings is that we lawyers are part of the system that make justice unattainable. So I decided to find a foundation that speaks.
Working in some of the dangerous places in Nigeria. At some point, I had to work for an international news agency, which afforded me the opportunity to travel extensively up to Central Africa. Most parts of West Africa, I covered for Reuters news agency at that time. But particularly, if I may reflect from my experience as a photojournalist who had, covered major historic events in Nigeria, everybody knows at some point in 2003, I was brutalized. And it became a national news. People like Mr. Ajala, everybody, they were around at that time, could testify to the fact that I was beaten to stupor, and I lost my life. I was only revived hours later. So sitting here is a privilege. I would have been dead a long time ago. So that's one of the hazards of the profession. Jan Soke was there too. He took one of the historic pictures that I'm still going to use in one of the books I'm writing. So that was a key moment for me in my. That was a key moment for me. We are not in Rwanda, so I know. So that was one of the key moments for me in my journalistic career. But I was not even working in a very dangerous environment. It was Atiku, Obasanjo, Atiku was supposed to represent Obasanjo at the installation of Oba Akiolu in 2003. August 31st, I think, if I still remember. But even afterwards, I've worked in the Niger Delta. I've gone to Gabon to work in oil fields. I've gone to, I did a project on the Chibok girls, which actually took me to Zambiza Forest, part of Zambiza Forest. And I came out with a book in conjunction with Dr. Aisha Oyebode on the Chibok girls. So some of the dangerous places I've, gone to work actually told me or reflected in my work to the extent that the role of photojournalists in Nigeria looks so marginal in the scheme of things. But, people like us who are in, or Dr. Boyola who are in, because he was part of my trainer, he was part of people who trained me at NIJ. So know that, the work of a photojournalist in Nigeria is not marginal. That your involvement in the scheme of things, when you talk about political, when you talk about economic development, entertainment, name it, fashion, popular culture, religion, tell me where a photojournalist is not useful. And in most of these places are, sometimes you are faced with great risks that can take your life. I remember at so many times when I was working for Reuters, I had some shirts in my office because you already know that you can be called upon anytime to go to Senegal. Like a few days before I left Reuters in 2018, my editor called me from London and said, "You have to be going to Senegal." I said, "Why?" He said there was a landslide in Senegal. I refused. I had to tell lies because I was not. I was almost. So
to go and cover your landslide.
to go and cover, you
and
know.
he didn't leave his own office to
And
go
my
and cover.
ticket was already bought. You know, my ticket was already bought. So the idea was for me to move from office to the airport and go to Senegal. So I just needed to call my wife and say, oh, I'm going to Senegal. So that is to the extent in which a photojournalist, a serious photojournalist will work. I was listening, I was walking in when one of the lawyers was saying, I think the NBA president, and I was discussing that, you know, in the background with Dr. Boyola, that, where he said it's unfortunate, because I said it was embarrassing, but he said it's unfortunate that, you know, journalists will hang around when events, but then there are so many perspectives to it.
Yeah.
When you think about the fact that you are working for an organization for like 15 years, and that organization does not deem it fit to pay you, when you go out, there's a way for survival. It's a systemic thing. So when you lay blame on a particular set of people, I think it's unfair if you don't really. I'm not defending it, but I'm just saying it's a systemic thing.
In agreeing with the systemality of how things are, there's also a mindset.
I agree.
Let me come down. There's a mindset knowledge in Nigeria with the media space, you know, and they believe that before your story is being run, something more. Let me give you a simple example. I went to cover a story because I'm also a journalist. Years ago, I went to cover a story. I worked with Tell magazine at a hotel, and as I was leaving, I told the guy, I can't wait for because keynote speaker had spoken. I told the guy, sorry, I have to go. Do me a favor. Send me, I dropped my email, I dropped my card. Send me the story, send me the reports, and we'll use. And the guy said, no, wait now. I want to give you some. I said, no, just, what you're giving me is not important right now, but what is important is your story. Because that was a Wednesday. Every Friday, we finish production. Every Monday, for good 26 years, Tell magazine did not break. Every Monday, Tell magazine will come out. So Friday, all the stories must be in for the copy editor, for the editor to read, sent to copy production. Production will look at it and then they will put the placement. And I said, just send, don't worry. As we are speaking, if the story comes I get it in my email chat. Because I didn't collect the envelope, brown or white. Because that's the notion. So most organizers of events believe that there is a mindset understanding that for your story or your issue to be used, you must oil. So that's the area of systemality that I'm talking about. Before we go further, I kindly want to invite onto the podium the third person who will speak from the veteran dynamics of photojournalism. He's been there, he's done that, and I give God the glory he's still alive to add value to a lot of photojournalists and the upcoming ones. Permit me to invite, and please with a round of applause, Mr. Tola Noibi to come join. Mr. Akinze is already nodding his head. Let's give a round of applause, please. Mr. Tola Noibi to come and join, you know, this very auspicious event, this very, very dynamic panel session, so that he will give us, he has a more broader, more deeper understanding of photojournalism. You were beaten. I don't want to mention how many times you have been beaten as a photojournalist, you know, or his shirts has been torn, or his camera has been seized, you know. So he will come in and give us another perspective, another deeper perspective into the topic at hand. So, thank you for. Sir, I think you just give us, just in a minute, just give us your own intro. Your intro as a photojournalist in the face of violations. Just your 1 minute, so that we can go into different questions for today. Welcome, sir. Okay, let me. Okay,
So you can give him the mic. Because he has to. You need to give him the mic.
Use it, sir.
Good afternoon, my colleagues. And I want to thank God for being alive today. And my special thanks go to my other veteran, that's Mr. Abiodun Ajala, with due respect. To him and to God. And Nigeria is for us. And Nigeria happens to be the best country I've ever known in my life. Because I've traveled far and wide to the glory of God. Photojournalism is more powerful than story writing itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in story writing, the censorship always breaks the sweet flavor
Of the story.
because of space.
Yeah.
But a lot of clients, they want to see themselves appear on the pages of the newspapers. And it speaks and adds more value. Right? But the only thing is that as a photojournalist, you have to use your IQ, which is maturity. And unfortunately, most of us, we have assumed undue arrogance. And that's why, unfortunately, the thing has been reduced to unbelievable level. And a serious warning has to be given to most publishers, because they see your ID as meal ticket,
Yeah.
which is very unfortunate.
Fortunate.
I know of a newspaper that hitherto did not pay salaries for upward of 9 months or even over a year. So the ID card was then. I don't know whether it's still.
Your meal ticket
Yes,
to provide for yourself and your family.
right. But you still find some other newspapers that mere mention of the brand name, no matter whom was sent there, it has double toga. Because they want to believe that that situation is incomplete
Without your presence.
and the flavor is nil. But again, I want to plead with us, journalists, that we have to be proud of ourselves and use our common sense and maturity as well as humility in the discharge of our duties. Because I have to give this setup that very great respect. I got wind of the IV about 9:30, 10 yesterday in the evening, in the night. But from whom I received the IV, I made up my mind wherever I wanted to go.
You had to be here.
Your hair was a man, even when I was in Britain, I was in London, I was sending my pics by the grace of God. And before you know what is happening,
They are being used.
it's being used
Now,
to the glory of God.
yeah. Now, sir,
the angles in which you are bringing to play, sir, is very, very germane. And I think every photojournalist here, or intending photojournalist, will be listening to them. But I want to come from another angle, sir, which I want Mr. Yusuf, the lawyer, to help us, look at it. When we're saying violation, what exactly is the right of a normal human being?
Okay.
Vis-a-vis a photojournalist?
I think this issue of rights, we've reduced it to when we have confrontations and issues of, dehumanization. That is not it. As a photojournalist, you have a right to dignity of labor. But you see, there are situations where when you have these conversations, people will go back and get annoyed and, start how much they can start facing their employers. But again, as a photojournalist, you have a right to credit for your own work. Now, how do you manage it if your picture is going on the front page and it's going inside the pages? The one going on front page gives you more credit and gives you and the paper more money. What is the negotiation? What are you talking about? So again, you have a right to negotiate. In fact, as a human being, this human right of a thing is not just about, as I've said, violation. It's about you having the right to live a good life. You have a right to good health.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was a campus journalist and I'd done all these dramas about taking pictures. And what is a story without a worthy picture?
That's the depth of it.
The first thing any reader will look at is the picture. The headline do not really matter at times, except it's on the front pages. So it means that what we do as photojournalists is the gravamen of the profession, and it's the reason why the journalism profession is going for.
But are they being looked at in that perspective?
The
that's
perspective,
another question.
exactly. The perspective now is, and when you talk about issues of right, as an individual, you may not be able to enforce that right. Now, there are what we call right to be prevented from hazard. So I know journalists, photojournalists stand in the front line to get issues done. I was privileged to have taken some course in the US, and I know that these are issues that if you are going on the front line, there are more considerations for you, more than the person who sit back in the office. So how are we as photojournalists standing up to these issues? So the best that I think we can do is to, one, look at have an organization like this, then educate our people. Because without welfareism, welfare, what is the main aim of welfare? It's happiness. If a man is not happy, then the productivity level goes down.
Yeah.
So when you say photojournalist, every day our work goes round, and I don't know the number of newspapers we have in the country, including TV stations. We are a part of the system that feeds the country with information. Without information of what is happening in Maiduguri today, you would know that there's a problem in the country already. Then you want to know what is going on.
Now, I want to come back to you again quickly. What is I know that when you say teacher, between you and I, sir, Mr. Akitide, a teacher is a teacher, have you?
Yes.
Right? But to a lawyer, a teacher means a very different thing. Just like how he has been able to establish what a right is. So, in normal layman's language,
yes,
as a lawyer, help us. What is the meaning of violation? So that we will not take it in the nitty-gritty of photojournalists in the eyes of violation.
Okay. You see, society was evolving, and the society was brutish, nasty, poor, and short. Then people come up with rights. Religious leaders, people who later become law philosophers come up and say, okay, how do we manage society? So you submit your right. What is that right? The right to move from point A to point B. The right to be able to say what comes to your mind without fear.
Fear or favor.
The right to just hear your opinion. The right to protect your property. The right to, and property now, intellectual property, because that is what we bank on here.
That's what we're talking about here.
Baba just said that before you can take a picture that makes sense, you use your IQ
and maturity.
So that IQ, what comes, so these are some of the issues that violation is now on the other hand. If those mechanisms are set in place, what are those things that is going against that right? What is it that is not making you happy? What is it that is not making you earn well? What is it that is not preventing you from being violated or beaten or harassed? What is it?
Or fulfilling your duty or your job as a
yes.
journalist.
So those are violations. So violations may not come in form of in whatever form, but it comes from when you even work with someone and there is this what we call workplace harassment. And harassment in workplace is not just about touching or doing. There are verbal harassments which translates into being depressed and not being able to fulfill or putting your best to work. So these are things that I think we need to prevent. There is no reason why someone will be made to go out or wake up in the morning for 9 months without any salaries. What do you want that man to put on the table at home?
That's Nigeria for you.
So in protest to him not providing at home, then the wife, the children will start misbehaving, and that person will not be fulfilled. So violation generally is not to be seen from the angle. Yes, I know most of the violations that we journalists think about is the violation on the field of work. No, it should not be seen from that level.
Not from that
Yes.
perspective.
How many weeks of the day do you have as what's it called? Days to go and relax? By the law.
That's also violating your rights. As
You are violating your rights. Yes.
But Mr. Akintunde, you've been there, you've done that.
Yeah.
Right? Quote and unquote. I want to take it from you and then end with Baba. What is violation of a photojournalist in the last 30, 20 years as a journalist, as a photojournalist? What will you view? What kind of violations have you experienced and how will you see them vis-a-vis going for the younger ones coming tomorrow?
So, like he said, he mentioned the fact that violation, could be defined in different ways, and one of the ways in which violation is being perpetuated, violation of rights of journalists is being perpetuated within the newsroom politics. I say politics, and I will share some of my reflections as working in the local media before I transited. That the question I would like to throw to it is, at what point do you see violation as opposed to, or the difference between violation as opposed to cultural existence, of the ways things are done. For example, and I will give you an example. One of the things that actually took me away from where I was working in Daily Independent at that time was that, because you mentioned something that is very interesting. While I was working there, I would go to assignment. I wouldn't wait for any, I would just go to the street, make pictures. And one of the fulfillment that a photojournalist who knows his onion wants is pictures, to adorn the front page, for example, of the newspaper. And I can give you one of the corruption that's going on in the newspaper environment, just, to tie that to violation, is the fact that, you took a picture of a fight or a protest on the street in Ikeja, or maybe the lawyers are protesting, for example, outside the court. Then I was able to cover that. Then another photojournalist, an editor assigned another photojournalist to cover the stock exchange where Zenith Bank, I will mention it, where Zenith Bank, for example, is doing the IPO. So it is possible that the editor has something to do with the, So rather than putting the main issue that I think is the main issue of the day, that is even more historic, in terms of fighting for rights and all the rest, that is going to be put in the middle of the, or sometimes it is not going to be used.
Might not be used.
And the Zenith Bank IPO is going to be in the front, or sometimes, I am very sure you have seen a lot of that, it becomes a full page, front page advert for Zenith Bank or GTB or whatever bank it is. These are part of the things. So one of the things that actually took me away from there was the fact that where do I put a connect or divide the respect I should have for my editor, who thinks I was being rude because I challenged him. I said no, because I think a lot of things are going on there that I felt, and in fact I was too educated, to challenge him, right? So at what point do you see that because it became a very big problem for me, to solve. The editor was on my neck, he wanted to sack me because I was too like a rebel, photojournalist who had not seen anybody challenging him that way before, So at one point do you see, because you're going to lose your job as well.
Yes.
Because some of these things you are saying are not practical in the newsroom. You are not paid salaries, you don't want to talk, except the union. Sometimes our union
even bought over.
are bought over. So as an individual, it's difficult for you to come up and say, no, you have to pay me my salary. The next day, you're not going to be allowed into the newsroom. Oh, editor, why should you use Zenith Bank rather than the picture of an historic picture? I think is going to be part of, we even have the image of the newspaper in the future. I can't challenge him because one is a constituted authority over you. Two, perhaps he's older than you, and you don't want to, it's like challenging Baba and say, oh, Baba, why did you put? Well, it depends on the context. If I challenge him today, tomorrow, and you are the only photojournalist who is challenging the same man, he will say, oh, okay, Baba Irudo. So sometimes you want to step down your right because of cultural, of the cultural implications, socio-cultural factors that you can't deal with as an individual. I think so.
Now, before he answers the question, I want Baba to please give us his own. I'm sure you have.
In fact, I was very, very, very. I mean, I felt very proud. I'm very, very proud that he brought in that angle. Right? I remember my first shot in the media reporter. That was in Punch.
In Punch. Aha.
And that was around 73, 74.
I want to be around.
Right?
Wow. I was 2 years old.
To the glory of God. Yes. Ajibade Thomas was then the editor. And my ME and the editor was Sam. Right? I was able to blaze the trail. I got the full package of Udoji Award report. Right? And by the time I brought it to my editor, he said, oh boy, are you ready to go to prison? I said, no, but I'm doing my job. He said, what you have brought, I thank you very much for blazing the trail. but I will not publish it.
Wow.
In fact, it really dampened
the spirit.
Right? But it never disturbed me. By the grace of God.
It only made you stronger to do.
Yes, because I remember the pupillage they had under Sabamuka Pemu. It has helped me to date. Right? Bravery, courage. Right? And when you are applying these areas, you must use your common sense. Because the society is not that permissive to tolerate your bravery to that level.
Yeah.
And more importantly, and unfortunately, the creeping of politics
in the newsroom.
Oh God. Now, even the country generally, by the grace of God, it has dampened a lot of courage.
And the influences from the external part that influences decisions in the newsroom, in the media. So, Mr. Yusuf, how do you think, from Baba's example, Baba, you want to say something else?
Because what is there is that was what brought me to public relations, per se, right? And that was also what made me a lot more intimate with some powers that be, starting from IBB, right? Through my cousin then, the chief press secretary to IBB, right? He's late now, blessed memory. And that was what prompted the promulgation of the decree on the practice of public relations in Nigeria to date. Right? God gave me that courage and that honor to arrange for a courtesy call on IBB with a 34-man delegation.
Wow.
31st October 1985. And that was where the journey started from, on the promulgation of the decree on public relations. Right? Before it later,
Like the two other.
got into this level now, of which everybody is proud of. But I still want to plead that we still need to come into PR per se. Either you are a photojournalist
Or journalist, or you need to understand the dynamics of public relations for you to get your job done better.
It teaches you,
How to manage people across
yes,
board.
and to use your IQ the right way, right? And with this, you can always break
Even in anything. Now, Mr. Yusuf, what would you say?
Now, very, very quickly,
Good.
what I've come to realize is that in submission, because once you are employed to a particular organization, you've submitted your rights, and in return for protection and in return for the performance of their responsibility on you. Now, I've come to discover that in Nigeria, we tend towards survival first, without looking at the core principle or policy of the organization. Take, for instance, now, we have political leaders whom we have elected with our own hand, either directly or indirectly. You can't turn around to say that that leader cannot make laws or make... it's not possible. So before you submit to someone, you should... And again, I see that Nigerians don't go into... what's it called? Into workplace, or... we don't go shoulder high. We don't go with core principles. We don't go with our own philosophy. What you just do is to see somewhere where you can put food on the table. So by so doing, once your own personal philosophy did not, or is not aligning with that organization's, generally the organization's philosophy or principles is going to override that of yours. So what I would advise is for us to be able to stand up to our rights. The first thing that we need to get right is draw the line between our own personal convictions and wherever you are submitting that right to. That person will in return protect your right the way you have agreed. Now, we don't demand for a contract of employment in Nigeria.
Now, that's where I want to take you on that. And I want Mr. Akintunde to answer that quickly.
Exactly.
He's been there, he's done that.
Yes.
You have worked in the local space, you have worked in international space. There are global best practices. Is there any ethical, job standardization in Nigeria? If not, what are the issues? Is there any international? If there, how do we get there? Before you now start looking at what Mr. Yusuf is saying.
But of course, so the idea is when I transited from the local to the international news agency, you'll see the sharp difference. You'll see the contrast. That, for example, when I got into Reuters in 2005, then I was still, working in Daily Independent because my editor was giving me problems. So then, there was a way to transit. And the first thing they did to me, or they offered me, was training. They took me to Addis Ababa for what they call hostile environment training. That for you to even face riots, because they see Nigeria as an hostile environment, they have to train you as a photojournalist who is going to be in the front line, covering, protests, going to places like, Maiduguri and other places, Niger Delta at that time. So one of the things that I saw that was different was that training. In the local media, it's almost like when you consider the political economy the newspaper itself. The man who establishes the Sun or Daily Independent, they're all politicians. So whose interest are you working for? True. And you have to key into the philosophy of that. And that was what I was asking, that at what point do you separate the cultural and socio-cultural factors to the ethics of the work?
So we're bouncing back to Mr. Yusuf. Now, before we bounce back to Mr. Yusuf, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite the person representing Mr. Eniebele Effiong. He's here now. Please let's give a round of applause as we bring onto the podium Mr. Festus Ogun. Mr. Festus Ogun, thank you so much for coming.
And I quickly want to make one or two more points on that.
Okay, you want to quickly make one?
Yeah. Then another thing, until I left, I never asked they were seated in London. I never asked them, where's my salary? So I won't come to an event to hang around as a journalist, because, I have a better thing to do, because your editor is already on your neck. Send my pictures. Yeah. Send the pictures. Yeah. And your pictures are fired on the wire. And the next day you see it in New York Times. So even without being paid, I enjoy the
satisfaction that your shows are.
Which was quite different from. But everybody cannot work in the local space. Yeah. So like I was talking to Dr. Boyola, that you also have to decide. You also mentioned something like you also have to decide on your own, what do I really want? Do I want to be here perpetually, where my rights, my dignity are being trampled upon? So, some of those things are also dependent on you, on your,
Which brings us to the fact that, I'll come back to you, Mr. Yusuf, which brings us to the fact that we like it or not, the guild, Chairman sir, every member of the guild here, you like it or not, and I think I would kindly request that Dr. Boyola should please help us do something. Going forth, as part of the courses that will be taught at the Institute of Journalism, they should partner with the NBA so that they can start teaching the rights for the journalist when you are employed, when you are on the job, and when you are on the field. So there are three different perspectives that we'll be looking at there, which is a fantastic thing.
Baba said it's there.
I think I can respond quickly, on behalf of Dr. Buyos.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, because I've been part, several times they will invite me
to come talk. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Ajala knows some part of the problem. I even, part of the fight I think we should fight is that even for the photo editors, a lot of photo editors like him, veterans, cannot even say anything.
Photo editors as well.
Cannot even say anything. So in NIJ, I know a lot of, since 2005, NIJ has churned out
massive
trained photojournalists. That makes it like 20 years. Yeah. And I was part of the first set of that program. So you will see, and Ayodele, you are part of that project. So you see, it is not because Nigeria lack trained photojournalists. It is because the platform out there in Vanguard, in Punch, are too hostile for them to operate, for them to really flourish. So when you mention NIJ, so I had to come in, because I have been, it's something.
Thank you for correcting me there. So it means we need to look at another different campaign, and the campaign is the media houses, because I have a feeling that the media houses don't even look at photojournalists or photographers as important people. They just make it look as if they go by the side. But even at that, I would allow Mr. Festus Ogun to say one or two things vis-a-vis, the face of photojournalists, the photojournalists in the face of violation. What's your view? Just a minute, so that we can now join into the various angles we're going into.
Thank you very much, and I sincerely apologize for joining the podium late because I was.
Don't worry, we'll give account number is GTB Bank 000 You can
pay your
so
fine.
I sincerely apologize for that. For me, I believe that the role played by photojournalists in Nigeria or anywhere is very crucial, principally because they tell the story, even sometimes more than the journalist that reports the story. Because when an average reader or consumer of the news sees the picture, he has a reasonable idea of the news item or the news story. But the trouble, in my view, has been that, one, are photojournalists in Nigeria really given the recognition that they deserve? I do not believe so. That is not all. Are they truly protected by the legal framework that exists? Again, I do not believe so. A lot of us know quite a number of journalists that report the news. But when you are now asked, the picture that are usually attached to these stories, who are those pushing it? Who are those bringing out the pictures? In fact, it is so painful that the basic rights, copyrights, that sometimes are owned by these journalists are taken away.
Yeah,
In a way that impugn on the dignity of their work. Sometimes we see, you read news stories, the photojournalist is not credited. Sometimes even the news platform
would not credit the photojournalist.
is not even credited.
Yeah.
So with that, it downplayed the motivation of these journalists. I believe they are not adequately rewarded by our society. And even back to the media entrepreneurs, the owners of media houses, do they really place premium on the work and the role of photojournalists in this country? Do they? Are they even properly remunerated? That is on the one hand. The other hand is about law. Most times when I see journalists, photojournalists in public glare, it's during protests and public rallies. That is when I really see their work. That I'm talking about my humble self. And during protests, during campaigns, when they are doing their work, you see police harassment, intimidation, and oppression. I could remember vividly that I think some months ago, the NUJ chairman in Abuja was arrested. And I think he is a photojournalist, if I'm not mistaken. And he was harassed. Not only him, we have others that are harassed almost every time when they are possession, when they are doing their work. Who is really standing for them? So I believe that the photojournalist appears to be like an orphan in the media industry.
An orphan. Now,
in the media industry.
I want to add something to what Mr. Yusuf would answer. You've said something that is very germane, and it resonates to me regarding Baba Noibi. Now, which I'm going to ask him that question, and I can say for free that some of the photos he had taken in the last 40 years, how many of those photos today is he getting change? No, let's not. When you say credits are in 3-4 dynamics. Credits is for every picture that they use that he has taken. Do they say copied by or given or picture taken by? That's a credit. The second credit is if at every time a picture is used, does Getty Images or does any media platform in Nigeria pay him royalties for that? Yeah. That's another credit. Even all the photojournalists that are here, do you get those credits, even from the media house you have used in the past? Because at the World Photography Day that was done in August, I was there, Mr. Tito was a keynote speaker. There was an exhibition that was done, and there were pictures that are there that are so germane that you would see on different platforms, social media or newspapers, but they're just used. There was even one that was shown that he's not here today. I was like, you mean you took that picture? He said he took that picture and he was even beaten at the train rail, by boys. But he's happy the picture was given an award, international award. That was the only place you can get credit. So how do we, Mr. Yusuf, how do we mitigate this? Because these are violations.
Now I want this guild to look inward.
Thank you.
And looking inward.
Mr. Chairman,
my understanding
of the guild and members of the please.
My understanding of protection of rights.
Right.
Is that no individual alone can stand up to defend your rights. Yoruba will say that Oshushuo war, when they come together.
Yes,
so we need to first come together, incentivize the coming together.
Incentive. Hey, you burn your edge off. Mr. Ajala, Mr. Ajala, and the ex
Yes.
the guild, please take note.
Incentivize the coming together to see that people don't just come and they leave the way they came. Then with that, start to train people and distinguish, make up curriculum that's going to distinguish photojournalists from every other photo takers, because anybody and everybody can just do anything
and take photographs.
Yes. Then train people on how they can begin to eat from the fruit of their labor. And eating from the fruit of your labor
now and in the future.
Now and in the future. How? Is that just the way you see? We have laws in Nigeria that protect your right to own your intellectual property. And that right is just going to be registered with less than 100,000. But you can benefit from it for at least 20 years, which is going to be renewable to you if you can show that it is your own work. So how? Yes. That is what the Ministry of Trade and Commerce and Industry does. They call it, you can do either trademark. And in doing trademark, nobody can, once they use it in law, it is called passing off. And you can sue that person for using your work without getting your consent, without paying you. And that is why you see Blackface, I'm sorry to use the word, Ronda as a musician, and the like of Two-Face tribe, because they had a proper structure that educated them on how they can keep on benefiting from what they have done. And it is intellectual, so it doesn't need to be, you don't need to put much energy, because you can just sit down in the corner of your room today and come up with a fantastic idea, and that idea can be what's going to feed you for the rest of your life. So we should not allow ourselves to be seen as, Festus has said it, as an orphan. We should rally around ourselves and create a proper structure. There is nothing wrong having on the standby a group of lawyers, even if it is on pro bono basis, to defend photojournalists. If lawyers are harassed, do you see how much we troop out to defend ourselves?
Yeah.
But what do you see of photojournalists? These guys don't need to have money to defend themselves in court. There should be a pool of funds somewhere, possibly from the contribution that they make to the guild.
By the guild to
Yes.
fund and defend.
Yes. What of issue of health insurance? These are things that we can begin. So it is from within this group that we can tell the people who we are and how we want to be treated.
Now, I think on the passing shot, because of our time, on the passing shot, let's start from Mr. Festus. What I like the word you used, and that's what the legal expert is using, as an orphan. The photojournalists should not see themselves as an orphan. In the midst of the issues of violation and all that, what would you say is the next level solution? He's giving his, which is very genuine. I think the guild is here. The guild is listening. What is your own perspective? And then Baba will give, and Akintunde will give, and then we can round up from there. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I would say that we have to be very vigilant so that we are not selling our copyright to our employers. That's another challenge for photojournalists.
Yeah.
So when you take a picture, you work with, say you work with Punch newspaper. You're an employer. You're an employee of Punch newspaper. You take a picture. You send it to your newsroom. Another journalist writes the story, and your picture is used. What do you do if you are not credited even in that picture? What do you do? Maybe you sign contracts. Reasonably, you would have signed some contract to say that all the work that you do as a photojournalist, the copyright shall be owned by the media company. It's a challenge that photojournalists face. So I believe that this organization should not just be an association. It should be a pressure group that would insist that the media houses recognize the copyright credit for the photojournalists themselves. So that when there is a violation, say someone is using it even on international platforms, the journalist, even if the media house is not taking it up, the journalist is able to rise and ensure that its copyright is protected. Now, we should not lie to ourselves. Although I'm not a copyright lawyer, I'm not an intellectual property lawyer, but I know that intellectual property, copyright, is gold mine.
Yeah.
It's gold mine.
Yeah.
So I believe that this organization must first act as a pressure group to see that the employers in the media industry are not completely taking what should equally belong to the photojournalists who are in their employment. So that even after the employment, the photojournalists would have something to fall back on. But that cannot be done alone.
Yeah.
That cannot be achieved alone.
Thank you so much.
Our people will say, Agbajo owo la fi soya.
Soya.
Let me add this. I worked for a pharmacologist, and he came up with a solution. And while he was going to his work, we have what we call ownership of work clause.
Ownership of work clause.
Whatever comes from this place belongs to me. So a particular company sold that solution, and they produced it from abroad. Though we lost at the High Court, we are at the Court of Appeal now, and they are begging this person with at least 100 million naira, and she's saying no.
Sorry, sir. Can you say that again, sir?
Yes, I just said it.
That's a wonderful discovery.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing. Okay, Baba, sorry, sir. Dr. Boyo wants to say something quickly. Can we have the mic to him?
Thank you, sir. I don't know what the lawyers are going to say about this, but I think every photojournalist who works with media organizations have letters of employment. And I think the letter stipulates what the organization should do for you and things like that. But I also know, going by the history of photojournalism the world over, it started with using pictures without any byline. And it came down to Nigeria as far back as 1913, thereabout, when they started using pictures. In fact, most pictures in Nigeria were not even that old pictures. You might not even know who took them, whether white men or the rest. Under a normal situation, the editor in the media organizations have the right to give byline to whoever has an editorial content, be it pictures or text. But it's also the right of the photojournalist to get the byline. The newspaper is not losing anything by putting their name there, except you have an editor who has another subjective reason why such a reporter, a photojournalist, will not be given his byline. So it's not the question of an organization viewpoint that journalists should be robbed of their business. I don't think so. It has to do more with the editors. Sometimes it could be to protect the interest of the photojournalist if it's a very sensitive picture. So if there is any controversy about the picture being used without the journalist byline, it's something that the photojournalists themselves can discuss with the editor without necessarily going through any rough fight, which will not yield any positive result. The other thing now is, okay, what happens when you leave the organization? If it is all these portraits that we have in the pictures that you want to have, what do you call it, byline and take away, they are useless more or less when you leave the organization. But those good pictures that have shown the resilience and the entrepreneurship of the photojournalists in terms of maybe street photography and the rest, I think the picture will forever be your own. Anywhere you go, you keep using it. You can enter them for competition and the rest. The media organization will not ask you why are you using that picture. But for commercial, maybe they want to sell it. I'm sure even if you sell it, nobody will come and say you are selling that. Because in the olden days when we were using negative, when you leave an organization, you will not carry their negative away. You drop them because they paid for the film. You can't say because you took the picture and you carry them. No. At least the picture that I took when I was in Baghdad, I'm sure it's still with them. He did not throw them away. So, and I'm sure Mr. Ajala will also attest to that. But if it is Forikori, all these portraits, what do you need them for when you leave that place? They are useless.
Okay, thank you so very much. So, Baba, 1 minute roundup from you.
In fact, I have one analysis to prefer, and which is, I want to task the Guild of Photojournalists under Mr. Ajala to arrange for a meeting with the employers, media employers, right, to reinvigorate the journalists under their care, whether photo or news journalists, because they should have a combined effort, right? And unfortunately, when the photojournalists, when they attend events, they are looked down upon.
Yeah.
Because of their dressing.
Yes. Now that's another thing.
And again, you see, when I was growing up in journalism, right, what I realized was that in the areas of interviews, you get to a place where you just tell the editor or the news, the newsman that, look, the question you're asking is off record. Do you have that again? Because some newspapers will blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
To embarrass the interview, and which can be very, very expensive.
Yes.
Right? Because I come to realize that in PR, every man belongs to two worlds: the world of privacy and the world of institution. But you have to blend both together.
Both together to get.
And then make sure that one does not overweigh.
The balancing has to be very, very apt and very key.
Yes.
The focus of the essence is being lost.
Right.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Akintunde, last shot from you so that we can round up.
Okay, there are so many things to talk about. Let me just say, I would say something about copyright. I would say something about dressing, and I would say something about
that dressing. Don't go there.
I would just
look
say something.
Look at who would ever believe you an award? Look at the way you're dressed. That's the thing. So let's leave dressing out.
Okay, so in fact, I'm going to begin from there. Yeah, because it's about image. We are creating image.
Yeah.
But again, there are. I think it's about people being educated about the work of a photojournalist. For example, I've never worn a tie. Even though when I was in secondary school, I've never worn a tie. I don't want to dress like Mr. Ajala. Like before I came to this place, I was on the street shooting in Maryland. I can't go to shoot in Maryland or in Zambisa Forest with a suit.
It's not possible.
Because it is the nature of my job. I'm not saying people should not dress well. I mean, standing there means that, I dress smart. I want to go to...
Can you take off your cap so that they know that you are a senior, you are a junior Wale Soyinka or...
Go to, for example, I was doing a project on oil theft in the Niger Delta. For 14 days, I was on a boxer. I couldn't wash because I was in the creek. So I'm not there for fashion. I'm not there, So coming out on the day of photography, I dressed well because I was coming for an event.
It depends on the event.
But today I was going to shoot like 2 hours for a magazine in the New York. I don't want to go to, because I could be, a policeman came to harass me in Maryland shortly before I came here because I was shooting, billboards. So I won't go, I'm neat, I'm dressed, well dressed, but I can't go on time.
But you can go on Agbada on the side.
No, an Agbada will cover you now.
We
An Agbada will cover
cobalize you.
Because you can't run, you can. So I think it's about education. It's about who am I? When I open my mouth to speak with my camera, when I take my camera, even the way I'm dressed. Yes, I folded my shirt, but I'm neat.
Yeah, the ethics of the profession does not allow you to be too bogusly dressed.
Bogus,
You need to be
But if I'm attending
concise.
an event like this, and because I was coming out, I wanted to do an assignment this morning, and I said, okay, they are my colleagues, and I'm not presenting it. In fact, that was why I said I was going to refuse to come on the podium, because I said, people will think, I folded my shirt. But I'm neat, but I'm smart.
You're presentable.
I'm presentable. My cameras are always top notch. So anywhere I go to, and when I open my mouth, you will know I'm not a riffraff.
Okay, so that's
I think it's about education. How does a photojournalist would dress compared to a lawyer? So I think it's about our society, because we play premium on the big things and all the rest. But I can stand anywhere. I can stand to speak with any of my colleagues, lawyer, journalists, and accountants, anybody. So I think it's our presentation. It's not the quality, and being neat is very important. Then, then talking about rights, photo right. When I transited from the local media to the new, one of the things they also did for me was that even up to this moment I speak to you, they still pay me my royalty. Yeah. And it's going to be like that for as long as I live, even after I must have left. They still pay me. Sometimes it's 25, 75 with the organization. And one of the things that I educated myself with is that if I take 10 pictures on the feed, I'm going to send 2 to 3 to Reuters. The 7 are going to be in my pocket, in my archive, because I know what I'm doing. In fact, I was talking to some of my, one of my colleagues day before. I said the job or the work I have done are not for me. They are for my grandchildren, because I know they are product of history.
Now that's
right. So I think it's also on our own part. It's not just about government or the organization we are working for. It's also about
personal
education. Where are we going? Well, publish books. I'm writing already. I'm already writing about 3 books, right? Putting my pictures there, because I know I'm not going to live forever.
So in a nutshell, because I think if I don't take this mic from you,
I will continue to speak.
So in a nutshell, the violations of a photojournalist, or a photojournalist in the face of violation is dependent on so many factors. But one of the nitty-gritty of it is, how does the photojournalist himself see him or herself vis-a-vis where you work, vis-a-vis your profession, vis-a-vis your skill, and like Baba would say, vis-a-vis your intellectual maturity, even on the job. And I like the angle where Mr. Fessor said, yes, the photojournalist might be seen as an orphan of the media profession, but they stand out because there's nowhere in the world a picture is 10,000 stories at a go, depending on how you see or how you look at the picture. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You've knocked off this thing very, very well. And I know the upcoming photojournalist has learned a lot. Thank you, Mr. Nuruddin, for saying that the guild now has more role to play, even beyond the photojournalists themselves. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. It's been very explicitory. And please, let's stand up so that we can take a picture. The chairman should join. The vice chairman of the guild, if you're here.
The chairman should join. Photojournalists in the house, you can join. Okay, well, let them take the picture first with the chairman, and then other journalists can join in this. Let's come together. So photojournalists in the house, please join this team because it's more about your profession. No, we'll do outside later. I just want all photojournalists in the house, please join this. The taller ones should go to the back. Some hand. Okay, let's do this. Yes, the short. Okay, I think the speakers should come to the front. The speakers be the first line. Here. Yes, sir. Yes, Baba, please come here. Baba should come here. Mr. Festus, please join. Mr. Festus, join here. So others can go to the back. You can go to the back. Others, so that we have the four of them. Are you getting the other pictures at the end? Oh yeah. Everybody say Mushi. Mushi. Thank you so very much. Let's give a round of applause for our keynote, our panelists, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, DJ, thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, we've come to the point where we need to recognize. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, photojournalists in the house, please, I need your attention. We're at the point where we need to recognize our awardees, and the first award is going to none other than, please, the first award will be presented by the chairman of the Guild of Photojournalists, and he'll be joined by Baba Noibi. Please come forward. Baba Noibi, please come. And the chairman should please come forward. The first awardee that will be awarded today, Baba Tobi, please come. Noibi, oh, he was in Zagbada. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. So please do. The first awardee today is none other than the keynote speaker for today, Mr. Bala Zaka, FCA. He's an energy expert and a public analyst. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to collect his award. It will be presented by, wait sir, Baba will join you in presenting the award to him. Let the cameras roll, please. DJ, just bring it up, just a bit. Great. Thank you so very much. The next awardee tonight is the GPN Most Leading PR and Marketing Strategist Award, Oil and Gas, and it's being given to Mr. Kunle Odushola Stevenson. Baba, please, might tell us one more person. Okay, Yes, ẹ wá báyìí. Sorry, sir. Ẹ sì mọ bí dẹ̀ torí. GPN, Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria's most leading PR and marketing strategist award for oil and gas, Mr. Kunle Odushola Stevenson. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Let's give him a round of applause as he takes his award. Mr. Odushola, please look here, sir. Yes. Thank you so very much. Now, please, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me. Let's have some refreshment with our keynote speaker leading the team, so that we have light music and we can eat something. And in another 5-10 minutes, we'll come back for the next level of awards. Thank you very much for being with us and for being patient. God bless you. Please let's move to Mr. Balazaka. Please kindly lead the team and let's have your meal. Go and take your order, and then everybody will join in taking their order while we'll come back in another 5-10 minutes for the other awards. Thank you so much. DJ Fash, no vex, so over to you. DJ, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me. We want to give an award now. And Mr. Chairman, please get off the stage. I'm commanding you. I know it's your event. You are the chief host. I am the owner of the mic now. I'm very sorry. We want to give an award. Mr. Lakunle, please come. Us together. DJ, thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, the next award, the keynote speaker, Mr. Bala, please join us here on the podium. Mr. Yusuf Nuruddin. Mr. Yusuf Nuruddin. Mr. Yusuf, please come. I want the two of you to kindly join. I want the chairman to also join, please, as we're going to present 2 awards in one. We're presenting, Mr. Chairman, please join. The two of you will help us present 2 awards together. And the award goes to GPN's Energy Woman of the Year, Oil and Gas, Mrs. Oluwakemi Oyekon Olumuyiwa. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes to take her award. The Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria's Energy Woman of the Year, Oil and Gas, Mrs. Oluwakemi Oyekon Olumuyiwa, as she comes to take her award. Presenting the award is our keynote speaker today, Mr. Balazaka. Please present to
Feels fine.
next. Okay, DJ, thank you. The next award that Mrs. Olumiwa will help us to receive. Before she takes the award, I want to invite to support the chairman of the Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria, Mr. Akintunde Akinleye, to please join in supporting. No, don't worry. You're a real photojournalist in the field. Now, the award that we're giving now is the award of GPN's most supportive organization, corporate organization, particularly from the oil and gas sector, is given to NNPC. Please. I think we'll give to the chairman to present to her. Ms. Oluwakemi will be receiving on behalf of Hello, 1 2 1 2. We can't hear you. Okay, yes.
Okay, thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you very much. And then for the support you are giving to the gift of photojournalists. May God bless you.
Never sorrow.
Sorry. This is for the NMPC, the giant state oil industry we have in Nigeria. And then the award is being presented to Mrs. Ms. Oluwakemi, that represented the organization. The organization is well represented, was well appreciated by the Guild of Photojournalists for the support he has rendered to the association. So our message to the company is that the organization is that they fly the high courses.
Let's give NNPC a round of applause, please. Don't go yet. Okay, yes, that's true. Well, that will come later. We still have more. We're not finished. We're going on a break. We'll come back for more awards. Thank you so very much.
Everything was done.
We're going on a break. So let's Mr. Bala, please can you lead everyone? Let's go and have our lunch. Let's go over and take our refreshments, and then we can come back for the next level of awards. Thank you so much.
Everything was done. All of a sudden, on came the lights, and everything was feeling right. People
1, 2. DJ Fash. DJ Fash, thank you so much. You're doing a great job. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, I need, while RSVP is going on, we still have some awards to give to some very, very important people who are awardees and they're here. So let's do it quickly. I kindly want to request that Dr. Boyola should please come to the podium, please. Sorry, sir. We need you to just help us give 2 very, very important awards. Dr. Boyola, and I would want to include with you your prodigy. He's mentioned your name more than 6 times while seated on the podium. So, Mr. Akintunde, please join Dr. Boyola to present this award. So, the first awardee that will be given his award today, please, I know that the spoons are working as much as our mouths are working. Please, can we help give an applause when he's asked? I want to call Mr. Akintunde. Oh, sorry, your teeth are still working. Okay. Dr. Boyola, sorry, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are more than a wonderful guest. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I want to call, first and foremost, Mr. DJ Fash. Thank you so much. I want to call Mr. Yusuf Nuruddin Esquire. He's the founder, Foundation for Public Interest Law and Development. He will be giving his award, and his award is Brain. Most distinguished. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been given this most distinguished GPN Most Distinguished Legal Icon Award. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Mr. Nuruddin is the founder Foundation Public Interest Law and Development. DJ Fash, volume, please.
I wish I have the luck to have this kind of award.
Well, we can switch names up.
That would be silly. This is to Mr. Barrister Yusuf Nuruddin, GPN Most Distinguished Legal Icon Award. I think this is something to be cherished, and I say congratulations.
Furthermore, he is a 2023 Mandela Washington Fellow and a Fellow of the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law, HIL. He's a member of the Nigerian Bar Association Executive Working Committee. Let's give him a round of applause, please. When I grow up, sir, I want to be like you. You want to say something briefly? Just briefly.
I'll just say
you're blessed.
On this occasion, I would want to pledge my commitment and the commitment of the members of our foundation to render pro bono legal services to GPN.
To GPN and us, some of us.
Yes.
Oh, great. So we'll see. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause, please. GPN, you have a pro bono legal assist. Legal interest has been settled. Thank you so much, Mr. Akintunde. Now, the next award is being given to Mr. Ini Behe Effiong Esquire, and is ably represented by Mr. Festus Ogun. Let's give a round of applause, please.
Present this award. What's the name of the award? No, the name of the award.
It slipped on. There's not.
we present this award for Mr. Inebe Effiong on
Inibehe.
on Inebehe Effiong on GPN for GPN Human Rights Award. Wish you the best of luck and wish that you are going to continue to support the association as it moves forward. Sorry. We present this award to you. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause, please.
On behalf of Mr. Inibe Effiong, I want to especially appreciate the Guild for the recognition, and I can assure you that you have all his support at any point in time. We are very grateful to the organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Great. The next level of awards that we want to give is this one I am interested in because it's a pity he wasn't here earlier. He would have helped us sit regarding violations for photojournalists. This way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite none other than the chairman of the guild, Mr. Abiodun Ajala, and the chairman of the organizing committee, Mr. Olakunle Ola. Mr. Olakunle Ola, please come. And the chairman of the guild, please come. Chairman of the guild, please leave that chicken alone. Please come. Chairman of the organizing committee. This award is the GPN Legendary Achievement Award in Policing. It's a very big one. And I want the ASP Nathan, if you're here. Oh, please come. Thank you so much, sir. He's receiving the award on behalf of CPK. I thought he had gone higher. CP Tunji Disu. Yes, CP Tunji Disu. As GPN Police Gallantry Award, legendary award for CP Tunji Disu.
On behalf of Guild of Photojournalists Nigeria, we present this award to our Oga, CP Tunji Disu.
Our Oga, yes.
As GPN Legendary Achievement Award in Policing.
Let's give a round of applause, please. Let's give a round of applause. Please, a round of applause. CP Tunji Disu is an exceptional police officer. Exceptional police officer. He's ably represented by ASP Nathan. Thank you so much, ASP Nathan. You want to say something? No, thank you. The next award that we want to give. Chairman, please stay. You're just giving one more award. Great. The next award, I want Mr. Kunle Ajayi to please come. Yes, Ke, I did your work, so you come and do one work here. Mr. Kunle Ajayi, please join. He's another veteran. When Baba was talking about veteran photographers, photojournalists, yes, him, Akitunde, they've been there, they've done that. And Baba, Mr. Ajala, is the very senior award, very senior veterans. No. Now, this next award is GPN Most Outstanding Legal Icon on Innovation and Community Impact Award. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me as I call the awardee. He is Mr. Esquire Emmanuel Adetunji Akinyemi. A round of applause for him, please. Represented by Mr. Emmanuel. Great. Come to this side. Come closer to this side. Yes, so that. No, come closer. Come to this side. So that the logo will.
On behalf of Guild of Photojournalists Nigeria, I hereby present this award to Mr. Adetunji Akinyemi Esquire.
You want to say something?
Very well, sir.
Okay.
On behalf
very.
of Honorable Adetunji Akinyemi, he sends his regards and he appreciates this award. And he sends his wishes to the association. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Right, Mr. Ola, you can go and take your seat while Mr. Kunle Ajayi is still. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you would agree with me that the fried rice and chicken and the jollof rice were sengamended. They were provided by M Square Kitchen, who is handled by Mrs. Temitope Adediran. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Let's give her a round of applause. I hope that. Thank you, DJ Fash. You can get round 2 if you are lucky when the food finishes. Thank you. The next award that we want to present is very special, and it's another oil and gas award. Mr. Kunle can do justice himself alone. He doesn't need a partner from the guild, you know. So the next award is GPN Life Achievement Award for Oil and Gas, and it's been awarded to Engineer Mrs. Odunola Oseni, who is ably represented by Mr. Aderemi. Mr. Aderemi is representing Mrs. Oseni. Oh, great. Let's give him a round of applause, please, as he comes. Let's give a round of applause as he comes.
Thank Mrs. Engineer Mrs. Adunola Oseni. On behalf of Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria, I hereby present to you Life Achievement Award, Oil and Gas. Congratulations.
Let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause, please.
On behalf of my Managing Director, Engineer Mrs. Adunola Oseni, the Chief Executive Officer of Cedarbuk Oil and Gas, we want to dedicate this award to the Almighty God, and as well as appreciate the management of GPN for this feat. God bless you.
God bless you, sir. Now, you will take note, ladies and gentlemen, you will take note that Mr. Alakunle, you can still stand there. You can still stand there. Yes, sir. The microphone as MC. You can sit down. You are the commander. You can sit down as well. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony, I'm talking, you are talking. How many talkative? Mr. Tony, I'm talking, you are talking. How many? Sit down and listen. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at the award, and I love this award because it's significant in its own way. Every photojournalist in the house, which of the fingers do you use most? The thumb. The thumb. Because the thumb is most important part of the finger that clicks on that place of the camera that takes the picture. So the other four would hold the camera and the thumb would do the magic. This award is very significant for anyone who takes it, and we want to hope that as you've taken this award home, you're doing more than just clicking, you're adding value in every sphere of your life. God bless you. Thank you so very much. Mr. Kunle Ajayi, I said you can sit down. I didn't say kneel down. Sit down. Fantastic. Now, you were meant to be the moderator for the second session. So please start your moderation while you can all go home when you are here. Ask the first question now. We're waiting for you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the chairman of the Guild of Photojournalists of Nigeria and the chairman of the organizing committee, we want to thank you for staying with us since 10 or 11 o'clock. They've been here. Some of us have been here since 9. We want to thank you so much for your time, your patience, and knowing that the fifth edition next year will be far, far better than the one this year. And like Dr. Boyola had said, he said, which I totally accept, we had a full house, we had a quality attendance, and we had a wonderful time in the conference award and exhibition today. Thank you so very much for coming. I want to invite quickly Mr. Temitope Aino. Mr. Temitope Aino, please come forward to come and give the vote of thanks. Temitope Aino, are you here, sir? Mr. Aino, to come and give a brief vote of thanks while Enire to come and I want to invite Mr. Enire to come and give the vote of thanks on behalf of the Guild.
Good evening, everyone. I want to appreciate everybody for coming to this occasion today, the 2024 Guild of Photojournalists Nigerian Award and Conference. I really appreciate our chairman, the chairman of Guild of Photojournalists, our veteran photojournalist, our Baba in the house, the Deputy Provost of NIJ, and others. I really appreciate everybody for coming today. It's been a wonderful evening for us. It's been a wonderful evening and afternoon for us. And we really appreciate everybody who has come to contribute one way or the other to the success of this event. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Aino. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for making this event worth every moment. And like they say in Yoruba, Adelebare, Arinokore, Akoyaibi, and by His grace, next year, we will not only see each other this time next year, we will meet each other first at the World Photography Day in August, and then we will now celebrate the 5th edition of the GPN Conference, Exhibition and Awards. God bless you. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful night's rest. Let's give ourselves a round of applause as we close the event for today. DJ Fash, over to you. Can we do new school? You have done old school. Do new school. Play Davido and